20 fads from the 1970s that might have slipped your mind. We'll start with a shampoo that smelled so good it became its own pickup line, "Gee, your hair smells terrific."
Gee, your hair smells terrific.
And end with a game that had kids following orders for fun. Along the way, we'll encounter rocks as pets, beans that jump, and drinks that were out of this world. But before we dive into our next 70s gem, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Trust me, it'll smell terrific. Gee, your hair smells terrific shampoo, a sensational 70s throwback. Starting off our list of the 70s fads you might have forgotten, let's lather up some nostalgia with Gee, your hair smells terrific shampoo. This fabulously named shampoo burst onto the scene, and it wasn't just the name that caught everyone's attention, it was the fragrance that could practically be sniffed out across a disco dance floor. Developed by the Andrew Jergens Company in the early 70s, this shampoo promised not just clean hair, but an olfactory experience so delightful that strangers might actually stop you on the street to compliment you on your sensational smelling strands. And let's be honest, in the 70s, who didn't want their hair to be their greatest conversation starter? This shampoo became emblematic of the era's flair for flamboyant products and branding. With advertisements featuring young, vibrant individuals flipping their hair in slow motion, it's no wonder it became a staple in bathrooms across America. It wasn't just about the clean, it was about the scene. Here's a little trivia for you. Despite its popularity in the 70s and early 80s, Gee, your hair smells terrific eventually faded from store shelves in the US, but it's still being manufactured and sold in the Philippines. That's right, a whole new generation is getting to experience the head-turning aroma that once wafted through American streets. Speak and Spell, the technological teacher of the 70s. Next up on our groovy list of 70s fads is the Speak and Spell, a device that not only entertained, but educated. Launched by Texas Instruments in 1978, this small, bright red contraption was a childhood staple for many, serving up spelling practice with a side of futuristic fun. Speak and Spell was notable not just for its educational value, but for being one of the first handheld devices to use a digital speech synthesis. Yes, long before Siri and Alexa, this little machine was talking to us, helping to spell difficulty without the difficulty. And yes, that pun is free of charge. This electronic marvel came with a keyboard and a visual display where words would appear one at a time for kids to spell. The robotic voice, which now sounds charmingly retro, was cutting edge at the time. It coached kids through over 200 commonly misspelled words, offering praise for correct answers and gentle corrections for mistakes. It wasn't just a toy, it was the cool teacher you always wished you had. And here's a bit of techno trivia. The Speak and Spell was based on the TMC 0280 chip, one of the first to use linear predictive coding to create human-like speech sounds. This tiny piece of hardware marked a significant leap forward in digital technology and opened the door to the voice-operated gadgets we take for granted today. Pet Rocks, the ultimate low-maintenance companion. Continuing our journey through the quirky world of 70s fads, let's not overlook the Pet Rock, a fad that proves just how far a great marketing idea can go, even if it's as simple as selling rocks. Invented by Gary Dahl in 1975, this fad was the epitome of low-maintenance pet ownership, ideal for those who found even a goldfish too demanding. The concept was brilliant in its simplicity, a smooth stone housed in a cardboard box with straw bedding, complete with breathing holes for a rock. Each pet rock came with a manual on how to care for it, which was filled with humor and care instructions that were, let's say, less than demanding. Training your pet rock required no actual training, which was part of the charm. Commands like sit and stay were instantly mastered, though roll over was notoriously tough to teach. The fad took off like wildfire, making Dahl a millionaire almost overnight. Why? Well, it wasn't just about owning a rock, it was about the novelty and the comedy of having a pet that required nothing from you. The Pet Rock was a tongue-in-cheek critique of modern consumerism, pet culture, and the human tendency to follow bizarre trends, and it came at a perfect time, when people were ready to laugh at themselves a little. Here's a rocky trivia nugget. Despite the popularity of pet rocks, the fad was as durable as a sandcastle in high tide, fading away almost as quickly as it appeared. Yet it remains a cultural icon, symbolizing the weird and wonderful spirit of the 1970s. Kerplunk, the tense tower of marbles and sticks. Moving on in our roundup of delightful 70s fads, let's dive into the clattering world of Kerplunk, a game that turned the simple concept of gravity into nail-biting entertainment. Introduced by Ideal Toy Company in 1967 and soaring in popularity throughout the 1970s, Kerplunk was a staple in family game nights and children's parties alike, offering suspense in spades, or should we say, in sticks. The setup of Kerplunk was part of the allure. Players filled a transparent plastic tube with a web of colorful sticks, creating a precarious nest that cradled a bunch of marbles. The game's objective was deceptively simple: carefully pull out the sticks one by one without letting the marbles fall. The fewer marbles you dropped, the better your chances of winning. Each player's turn was a tension-filled spectacle, with onlookers holding their breath as marbles teetered on the brink of disaster. This game wasn't just about luck, it required a gentle touch and strategic thinking. Which stick could you remove to sabotage your opponent's next move? Which ones were load-bearing and which were decoys? It was a masterclass in suspense and strategy disguised as child's play. Here's a bit of playful trivia. Kerplunk was such a hit that it has been reissued multiple times over the decades, each time with slight modifications to design, but the same thrilling mechanics. Its enduring appeal lies in its simplicity and the universally relatable tension of waiting for the inevitable fall, the Kerplunk that gave the game its name. Pyramid Power, the mystical geometry of the 70s. As we delve deeper into our list of 70s fads you might have forgotten, let's explore the enigmatic allure of Pyramid Power. This phenomenon took off in the mid-70s, capturing the imaginations of those enchanted by the mystical and the mysterious. The concept that the pyramid shape itself could harness cosmic energies, offering everything from preserved foods to spiritual enlightenment. Pyramid Power was based on the belief that the geometric alignment of the ancient Egyptian pyramids could be replicated in small models to focus cosmic energies. People constructed pyramids out of cardboard, glass, or wire, placing various objects under them in hopes of tapping into supernatural benefits. Whether it was to sharpen razor blades, maintain the freshness of food, or enhance meditation experiences, the small home pyramids were seen as gateways to a higher vibrational state. The idea gained traction with books like Pyramid Power by Max Toth and Greg Nielsen, which became bestsellers, providing evidence and instructions on how to build and use personal pyramids. This was the era of exploring alternative spiritualities and New Age practices, and Pyramid Power fit right in with its promise of accessing an ancient and hidden wisdom. Here's a quirky bit of trivia. Despite numerous attempts to scientifically validate the claims of Pyramid Power, no conclusive evidence has ever been found. Yet the fad's popularity was undiminished during its heyday, fueled by a combination of pseudoscience, spiritual seeking, and the sheer appeal of having something so mysterious and cool looking in one's living room. Clackers, the clicking craze of the 70s. As we click our way through the list of unforgettable 70s fads, let's not forget Clackers, the toy that brought joy and occasional bruises to many. These simple yet addictive toys, also known as Kerbangers or Click-Clacks, consisted of two acrylic balls attached by a string to a central ring. The goal? Swing them up and down to make them smack together above and below your hand, creating a satisfying and often loud clacking sound. Introduced in the late 1960s and peaking in popularity in the early 70s, Clackers were the quintessential playground accessory. Kids everywhere could be seen and heard furiously swinging their clackers, competing to see who could keep the clacking going the longest or who could make the loudest noise. The simplicity of the toy was key to its appeal, requiring just enough skill to make mastering it a worthy challenge. However, clackers were not without their controversies. As their popularity soared, so did reports of the balls shattering upon impact, sending acrylic shards flying, a clear child safety concern. By the mid-70s, safety regulations became stricter, leading to a ban on the original version of clackers. They were eventually redesigned with more durable and safer plastic to mitigate the risk of breaking. Here's a noisy tidbit. Despite their eventual fade from the market, the sound and fury of clackers left a lasting impact on those who played with them. The toy became a symbol of childhood exuberance and mischief, embodying the unregulated wild energy of pre-digital play. Lemon Twist, the skip-it sensation of the 70s. As we spin our way through the kinetic energy of the 70s, let's not overlook the Lemon Twist, a toy that combined the simple pleasures of jumping with the challenge of coordination. This toe-tapping, brightly colored device was all about keeping the beat while keeping on your feet. The Lemon Twist toy consisted of a plastic lemon, or sometimes an apple or a ball, attached to one end of a flexible tube with a loop on the other end that you slipped around your ankle. The goal: swing the loop in a circular motion with one foot while hopping over it with the other. It was a test of agility, rhythm, and endurance, often turning into a sweaty but exhilarating workout. Marketed by various toy companies throughout the 70s, the Lemon Twist became a favorite for its playful approach to physical activity. It wasn't just a toy, it was a portable, self-contained game that could be played alone or in groups, making it perfect for those long summer days. The Lemon Twist encouraged kids to get outside, providing a fun way to develop coordination and physical fitness without the structure of organized sports. Here's a fun twist. The Lemon Twist was a precursor to the more widely known Skip-It toy of the late 80s and 90s, which added a counter to keep track of skips. Both toys relied on the same basic principle, but the Lemon Twist's simplicity and vibrant design made it a distinct icon of its time: paper fortune tellers. Diving into another nostalgic wave from the 70s, the paper fortune teller, also known as a cootie catcher, stands out as a charming example of childhood imagination and craft. This simple origami creation was a staple of schoolyard games, offering kids a glimpse into their futures with a mere flick of the fingers. Constructed from a square piece of paper, the paper fortune teller featured various colors and numbers on its folds. Players would choose a color, spell it out while manipulating the device, and then pick a number to reveal their fate, typically a fortune, challenge, or a whimsical prediction written inside. The intrigue was in the unknown, the thrill of discovering what secrets lay beneath the flaps. These paper contraptions were more than just a game. They served as a social tool among children. They sparked conversations, facilitated play, and even helped in making decisions, ranging from the trivial, like who would be it in a game of tag, to the crucial, such as who had a crush on whom. The paper fortune teller was a childhood oracle, delivering answers wrapped in the art of paper folding. A bit of folded fun. The origins of the paper fortune teller are not well documented, but similar forms of origami have been part of Japanese culture for centuries. The adaptations seen in schoolyards across the globe in the 70s reflected a broader trend of cultural exchange and adaptation. Simple paper transformed into a vessel of curiosity and joy. 8-track tapes, the soundtrack of a decade. Stepping back into the sonic landscape of the 70s, let's tune into the 8-track tape, a true icon of audio technology that defined the era's listening habits. These chunky cartridges offered a new way to experience music. Portable, durable, and endlessly loopable, they brought the favorite tunes of the decade straight into cars and living rooms across the country. Introduced in the mid-1960s, 8-track tapes hit their peak popularity in the 1970s. They were the preferred format for many because of their convenience. With 4 programs of 2 tracks each, they allowed music lovers to skip to different sections of an album with a simple push of a button, a novel feature at the time. 8 tracks were particularly popular among car enthusiasts, as they made car stereos a common place to blast the hits of the day. From rock and roll to disco, the format's ability to continuously play without the need to flip or change the tape appealed to those on the go, making every road trip a mobile party. Here's an intriguing note. Despite their popularity, 8-track tapes had a reputation for less than perfect sound quality and were known for their tendency to switch tracks mid-song. This quirk added a unique charm to the 8-track experience, even if it occasionally interrupted the musical flow. Lawn darts, the controversial game of the great outdoors. As we continue our exploration of 70s fads, let's look at lawn darts, a game that brought a competitive twist to backyard gatherings. These heavy, metal-tipped darts were designed to be thrown toward a ground target, mixing the excitement of aiming skills with the thrill of a well-thrown dart landing in its intended spot. Lawn darts, or jarts as they were affectionately known, involved players tossing the darts into a circle or similar target area from a set distance. The appeal of the game lay in its straightforward mechanics and the immediate feedback of a dart hitting the mark, similar to playing horseshoes but with an added aerial dimension. However, the design of lawn darts, which included pointed tips to ensure they stayed planted in the ground, led to concerns over their suitability for all ages. These concerns prompted discussions about appropriate settings and rules to ensure everyone's enjoyment and well-being while playing. In the late 80s, significant changes were made to how lawn darts were marketed and used, reflecting a growing awareness of maintaining safety while preserving the fun and competitive spirit of outdoor games. Billy Beer, the brew that bubbled with presidential charm. Pouring right into another unforgettable fad from the 70s, let's raise a glass to Billy Beer, the beverage that promised a taste of presidential family life, but ended up more as a historical footnote with a frothy head. Created and marketed by Billy Carter, brother of President Jimmy Carter, this beer wasn't just another lager. It was infused with the charisma and controversy of its namesake. Launched in 1977, Billy Beer capitalized on the novelty of Billy Carter's public persona, an everyman's man who loved a cold beer and had the unique platform of the White House lawn, metaphorically speaking, from which to promote it. The cans boasted, brewed expressly for and with the personal approval of one of America's all-time great beer drinkers, Billy Carter. Despite the buzz from the White House connection and Billy's colorful character, the beer itself was met with mixed reviews. Some called it a smooth sip of the South, while others declared it about as flavorful as a glass of Capitol Hill tap water. The novelty wore off as quickly as the foam settled and sales started to dwindle. Here's a sudsy snippet of trivia. Billy Beer became a collector's item almost immediately after the company ceased production in 1978 due to its presidential association and the quirky story behind it. Unopened cans of Billy Beer can still be found today, cherished more for their novelty and nostalgic value than for their contents. Nerf Ball, the soft revolution in play. Bouncing into the playful spirit of the 70s, let's catch up with the Nerf Ball, a soft, colorful sphere that revolutionized indoor play. Introduced by Parker Brothers in 1969, the Nerf Ball was the very first product in what would become a vast and varied line of Nerf toys, famed for their safety and versatility. The Nerf Ball was initially marketed as the world's first official indoor ball, claiming that you could throw it indoors without a care. No broken windows, no knocked over lamps, and definitely no tears. This simple concept was a hit, making Nerf balls a must-have in households where energetic play and precious home decor needed to coexist peacefully. The beauty of the Nerf ball lay in its simplicity and the soft foam material from which it was made. It was light enough to be thrown by the smallest of hands, but durable enough to withstand countless games and roughhousing. The soft foam wasn't just about preventing household chaos, it also made the game inclusive and safe for players of all ages, encouraging active play indoors without any associated risks. Here's a fun bounce of trivia. The name Nerf is rumored to come from the foam padding used in off-road racing, which was referred to as Nerf bars. Parker Brothers adopted this term, seeing the potential for a line of toys that mimic the safety and softness these materials offered in the rugged world of racing. Waterbeds, the wavy wonder of the 70s.
Daddy, can I have a waterbed? Please, Daddy, can I have a waterbed?
Floating through our exploration of 70s fads, let's dive into the undulating world of waterbeds. Introduced as a novel idea for sleep and relaxation, waterbeds became a hallmark of modern, free-spirited living during this vibrant decade. Originally developed in 1968 by Charles Hall as part of a university project, the waterbed quickly surged in popularity as people embraced its promise of a futuristic sleeping experience. Marketed as the ultimate in comfort and support, waterbeds conform to the user's shape, distributing weight evenly and reducing pressure points. This made them especially appealing to those looking for a touch of luxury in their everyday lives. The allure of waterbeds went beyond mere comfort. They were a symbol of status and a nod to the growing counterculture movement of the era, often associated with psychedelic decor and the free love ethos. With their gentle, rocking motion, they promised not just a good night's sleep, but an escape into a floating, dreamlike state. Here's a splash of trivia. Waterbeds accounted for about 15% of the mattress market by the late 70s. They were so popular that even Playboy Mansion had a room with a waterbed covered in Tasmanian possum fur. Despite their initial splash, the popularity of waterbeds eventually waned. Issues such as maintenance, the difficulty of moving them, and the risk of leaks dampened their appeal. By the late 80s and 90s, more conventional mattresses regained their footing in the bedroom. Dashboard Hoola girls, the swaying sentinels of the 70s roads. Cruising down memory lane to another whimsical fad of the 70s, let's take a moment to appreciate the Dashboard Hoola girls. These charming figurines, adorned with grass skirts and an infectious smile, danced their way onto car dashboards everywhere, bringing a bit of Hawaiian flair to even the most mundane road trips. Originating as a novelty item in the 1950s, the popularity of dashboard hula girls peaked in the 70s as they became synonymous with road trip culture and the era's love for kitsch and novelty. Mounted on springs, these figures would gently sway and shimmy in response to the car's motion, offering a serene companion to drivers and a delightful distraction to passengers. The appeal of dashboard hula girls wasn't just their enchanting dance. They represented a slice of paradise, a dream of tropical beaches and leisure that contrasted sharply with the daily grind or the backdrop of a traffic jam. They were a token of escapism, a small reminder that somewhere the sun was shining and the waves were waiting. Here's a humorous twist. While some might consider the dashboard hula girl a trivial piece of decor, to others she was the essential co-pilot. According to some drivers, a journey wasn't quite complete without their hula girl nodding along to every turn and bump in the road, offering silent approval and a sway of encouragement. Mexican jumping beans, the quirky crawlers of the 70s. Leaping into another curious fad from the 70s, let's explore the peculiar world of Mexican jumping beans. These fascinating little wonders weren't just a toy, they were a marvel of nature cleverly packaged and sold as a playful curiosity across the globe. Mexican jumping beans originate from the wild shrubbery of Mexico, where a tiny moth larva inside the seed of the plant causes the bean to twitch and jump unpredictably. This natural oddity became a popular novelty item, especially in the 70s, as kids and adults alike were captivated by the seemingly magical beans that moved on their own. The beans were typically sold in little plastic boxes or bags, often accompanied by colorful artwork and instructions on how to care for your new pets. The care was simple: keep them warm to make them active and cool to calm them down. This simple interaction provided endless entertainment as people watched in fascination, waiting for the beans to make their sudden, jerky movements. Biorhythms, the cosmic strategy behind a Super Bowl victory. As we continue our jaunt through the 70s, the quirky fad of biorhythms not only captivated those intrigued by personal and cosmic cycles, but also remarkably influenced professional sports, particularly a Super Bowl victory. This intersection of metaphysical belief and athletic strategy uniquely characterized the adventurous spirit of the decade. Biorhythms proposed that people operate on 3 cyclical patterns: physical, emotional, and intellectual, each dictating periods of high and low performance. This theory migrated from personal wellness circles into the more competitive arena of professional sports during the 70s. Notably, the Dallas Cowboys, one of the NFL's powerhouse teams, incorporated biorhythmic predictions into their training regimen. Under the innovative vision of Coach Tom Landry, the team employed these charts to purportedly predict player performance, strategizing their plays and training schedules around these cycles to optimize player effectiveness on game days. The pinnacle of this practice was seen when the Dallas Cowboys harnessed biorhythmic theory in preparation for their victorious Super Bowl game. This application of biorhythms was seen as a blend of cutting-edge science and intuitive art, matching physical strategies with the invisible rhythms of nature to gain a competitive edge. While there's a mix of skepticism and endorsement for the impact of biorhythms on such a high-profile win, the Cowboys' exploration of this concept is a testament to the era's experimental and holistic approach to human potential. The team's willingness to integrate this unconventional tool into their strategic planning speaks volumes about the 70s. Cultural openness to new ideas, even in the traditionally conservative realm of professional sports. Cork Pop Guns, the popping pastime of the 70s. Shooting back to another beloved 70s fad, let's pull the trigger on memories of Cork Pop Guns, the epitome of harmless mischief and childhood cowboy fantasies.
Shooting shell fanners and holsters carry the true stamp of the Old West. And every boy will walk tall when he wears a holster and pistol.
These toys, as much a staple of kid arsenals as bikes and baseball mitts, offered a bang of excitement with every pull of the trigger, minus any actual bang up. Cork Pop Guns were brilliantly simple: load, aim, and pop. A cork tethered by a string would burst forth from the barrel, propelled by a spring, only to comically dangle at its zenith and swing back, ready for another round. The pop was satisfying, echoing through backyards and alleys, a sound that signaled play rather than peril. Fashioned from bright plastics, or sometimes nostalgically crafted to resemble the wooden muskets of yore, these toys perfectly suited the wildly imaginative play scenarios scenarios of kids. Whether channeling their inner Al Capone or pretending to be the sheriff in town, children could navigate the fantastical perils of their imaginations with just a pop gun in hand. Here's a corker of a fact: despite their playful intent, Cork Pop Guns also occasionally served as introductory lessons to real-world responsibilities. "Don't aim at your sister" was a common parental refrain, echoing the teachings of safety and respect that accompany real firearms, albeit in a much lighter, more whimsical context. Tang, the astronauts' drink that conquered Earth. Let's stir up some nostalgia with Tang, the vibrant orange drink that rocketed from kitchen cupboards to the moon in the 70s.
Doc, we only serve Tang here.
Tang? What's that?
It's new, natural orange flavor Tang. Greater than ever for breakfast or any other time.
Marketed with a space-age twist, Tang was not just another breakfast beverage. It became synonymous with astronauts and cosmic adventures, even though it was enjoyed by earthbound folks just as much. Tang first appeared in the late 50s, but truly soared in popularity when NASA adopted it for the Gemini missions. Its inclusion in astronaut meal packs catapulted Tang into the limelight, making it a must-have in every household. It was the drink that brought a taste of the space race to breakfast tables across America, letting kids and adults alike start their day with a glass of astronaut-approved vitality. The allure of Tang was partly due to its convenience. Just mix the brightly colored powder with water and voila, an instant vitamin C packed drink that claimed to offer more than just hydration. It was marketed as a futuristic health drink, vibrant in both color and flavor, which could make anyone feel a step closer to their cosmic dreams. Here's a fun sip of trivia. Despite its association with space missions, Tang was not actually developed for NASA. However, its spaceflight connection made for a stellar marketing campaign that helped cement its place in popular culture. Sea monkeys, the magical aquarium pets of the 70s. Being into another whimsical fad of the 70s, let's revisit sea monkeys, the enchanting underwater pets that captivated the imaginations of children and adults alike. Promoted as instant life, these tiny brine shrimp were sold in packets that, when added to water, would magically come to life, offering a private peek into an aquatic ballet right in your living room. Sea monkeys were actually brine shrimp eggs that lay dormant until hydrated, a fact that was spun into a fantastical marketing story. Advertisements promised a family of playful, loving creatures that could perform tricks, follow your movements with their eyes, and even, according to the more imaginative ads, rise from the dead. The reality was somewhat less dramatic, but no less fascinating, as the shrimp would hatch and swim around, providing endless fascination. The kits usually came with a small tank, packets of eggs, and food, along with instructions for care. Kids could watch their sea monkeys grow, interacting with them through the clear walls of their aquariums. This offered a form of pet ownership that was both low maintenance and mildly educational, as it introduced basic concepts of biology and responsibility. Here's a humorous scoop. Despite the fantastical claims, sea monkeys didn't wear crowns or engage in synchronized swimming, and their castle was often just a plastic backdrop. Yet this did little to diminish their appeal, as the joy of watching these creatures grow was real magic enough. Simon Says, the flashing game of memory mastery. For the final rewind on our journey through the 70s fads, let's illuminate the memory testing marvel known as Simon. Debuting in the late 70s, Simon wasn't just another electronic game. It was a circular oracle of lights and sounds that challenged users to recall increasingly complex sequences. This game turned memory drills into hypnotic fun, captivating players of all ages. Simon featured 4 colored buttons, each producing a specific tone when lit. The game's premise was straightforward but deceptively challenging. Simon lights up 1 or more buttons in a random order, and players must replicate the sequence, relying solely on their memory. With each round, the sequences grew longer and more complex, testing the limits of concentration and recall. The genius of Simon lay in its simplicity and the universal appeal of its challenge. It didn't require game pieces, boards, or even physical skill, making it accessible to virtually anyone. The mesmerizing combination of bright colors and distinct sounds created a sensory experience that was as addictive as it was frustrating. Here's a playful twist. Simon gained a reputation as the party game that could silence a room, with players holding their breath as they tentatively pressed the colored pads. It was not just a test of memory, but a battle of nerves. Simon's impact on pop culture was significant, representing the era's growing fascination with electronic entertainment and digital technology. It was a precursor to the more complex video games and gadgets that would dominate in the decades to follow, paving the way for the gaming revolution. If you think today's shows are strange, clearly you haven't revisited the 70s. Back then, TV was a surreal mix of psychedelic puppets, quirky superheroes, and plots that only made sense if you didn't think too hard. These shows might be forgotten by most, but they left a lasting impression. Today we're diving into 20 forgotten TV shows from the 1970s that shaped our childhood. Don't forget to subscribe to Those Wonder Years and tell us which classic you'd love to see back on screen. Land of the Lost. Land of the Lost was the ultimate adventure for any kid in the 70s. This wasn't your average TV show. It was a wild, imaginative journey that took kids on a ride through a world filled with dinosaurs, time warps, and mysterious creatures. Imagine being part of the Marshall family, swept away into a land where danger lurked around every corner, especially from Grumpy, the intimidating T-Rex who showed up just when you thought things might calm down. And then there were the Sleestaks, those eerie, slow-moving, lizard-like beings with glowing eyes and that unforgettable hiss. Just the sight of a Sleestak could make you jump. The appeal of Land of the Lost lay in its mix of suspense, mystery, and family survival. Every episode felt like a new quest, with strange artifacts, hidden temples, and cryptic messages that made you wonder what was really going on. The Marshalls didn't just fight for survival, they were trying to unravel the secrets of this land, making it both a thrilling and cerebral experience for young viewers. It was a bit rough around the edges, but that made it all the more special. Who wouldn't want one more adventure in this prehistoric world, facing off against dinosaurs and uncovering ancient mysteries? Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters was pure Croft magic, capturing the whimsy and weirdness of the 70s perfectly. Imagine finding a lost sea monster on the beach, a friendly one, kicked out by his family for being too nice. That's exactly what happens to Johnny and Scott, two brothers who stumble upon Sigmund, a lovable, oddball creature they decide to keep as a secret pet. The premise alone is every kid's dream, a hidden friend with big googly eyes and a heart of gold. The charm of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters lay in the innocence of its story and the hilarity of hiding a sea monster from adults. Every episode, you rooted for Sigmund to stay hidden while laughing at his antics and his struggle to adapt to human life. The show tapped into every kid's desire for adventure, friendship, and a little mischief. Watching it felt like being part of a secret world, and for kids of the 70s, Sigmund became as much a friend as he was a character on TV. Who wouldn't love to revisit those beachside adventures with the friendliest sea monster around? H.R. Pufnstoof. H.R. Pufnstoof was like diving into a surreal fairy tale, with colors, characters, and songs that were as bizarre as they were enchanting. Jimmy, a boy with a magic flute, gets stranded on Living Island, where everything, from trees to clocks, has a life of its own. And then there's H.R. Pufnstoof, the island's mayor, who is part dragon and part friendly giant, always ready to help Jimmy escape the clutches of the witch Witchy Poo. It was like Alice in Wonderland with a 70s twist, full of psychedelic visuals that made every episode feel like a vivid dream. The show was playful yet packed with adventure, with Witchy Poo's schemes adding a touch of comedy and suspense. For kids, H.R. Pufnstoof was pure escapism, a world where anything was possible and where even the scariest villains had a humorous side. This was a show that didn't just entertain, it transported viewers to a fantastical realm where imagination reigned supreme. Watching it felt like opening a portal to another dimension. Who wouldn't want to visit Living Island again, where the magic was as real as the friendships? The Secrets of Isis.
Andrea Thomas, teacher.
Almighty Isis.
And Isis.
Before Wonder Woman, there was The Secrets of Isis, one of the first superhero shows to feature a strong female lead. Andrea Thomas was a mild-mannered schoolteacher, but when she invoked the powers of the Egyptian goddess Isis, she became a force to be reckoned with. Imagine watching her transform, calling on the power of the wind, or summoning lightning to stop the bad guys. For young girls, especially, seeing a woman save the day was groundbreaking. She was smart, compassionate, and powerful, a true hero. The Secrets of Isis combined combined mythology with modern-day justice, creating a show that felt both mystical and relevant. Andrea's transformation into Isis wasn't just a cool visual, it symbolized strength and confidence. Every episode, she taught kids the value of bravery, wisdom, and standing up for what's right. The show may be forgotten today, but for fans of the 70s, Isis was an icon, a reminder that heroes could come in all forms. Who wouldn't want to see Isis call on her powers and save the day one more time? Electro Woman and Dinah Girl. Electro Woman and Dinah Girl was the dynamic duo that girls in the 70s didn't know they needed until they saw it. Imagine two superheroines, dressed in brightly colored costumes, fighting crime with gadgets and cleverness. Electro Woman and her sidekick Dinah Girl were like Batman and Robin, but with a unique, female-powered twist. Every episode saw them facing off against outlandish villains with names like the Empress of Evil and Glitter Rock, blending action with a dash of campy humor that made it unforgettable. The appeal of Electro Woman and Dinah Girl lay in its blend of action and relatability. These weren't otherworldly figures, they were just two women using their wits and courage to keep the city safe. For young viewers, it was a refreshing change, offering heroines who were both strong and fun. With their Electra Change wrist devices, they always had a clever trick up their sleeves. The show may have had a short run, but its impact was lasting. Who wouldn't want to suit up and fight alongside Electro Woman and Dinah Girl, taking on villains and making the world a better place, one Electra power at a time? Shazam!
Shazam!
Long before superhero movies dominated the box office, kids of the 70s had Shazam to get their dose of heroics. The show followed Billy Batson, a young boy with a unique gift. Whenever he shouted the word Shazam, he was transformed into Captain Marvel, an adult superhero with the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, and powers from various mythological figures. Every kid dreamed of having a magic word that could turn them into a hero. Imagine shouting Shazam yourself and suddenly having superpowers. It was the ultimate fantasy. What made Shazam special was its mix of action, adventure, and moral lessons. Billy and his mentor traveled across the country in a van, meeting people who needed help. The show wasn't just about defeating villains, it was about standing up for what's right, helping others, and learning valuable life lessons along the way. Each episode ended with Captain Marvel offering a piece of wisdom, encouraging kids to be honest, brave, and kind. It was like a superhero show with a conscience, making it both exciting and meaningful. The Banana Splits Adventure Hour.
1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 bananas make a bunch and so do many more.
The Banana Splits Adventure Hour was like a colorful, chaotic carnival brought to life. Hosted by 4 goofy, costumed animal characters, Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper, and Snorky, the show was a blend of live-action comedy, animation, and music. Each character had their unique personality, and together they created a world where anything could happen. Remember the catchy theme song, Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la? It's the kind of tune that sticks with you for life. Just hearing it was enough to get kids bouncing along, ready for whatever craziness the Banana Splits had in store. The show wasn't just about the antics of Fleagle and his friends. It also featured animated segments and miniseries within the show, like Danger Island and The Arabian Nights, each filled with adventure, action, and a touch of comedy. The Banana Splits Adventure Hour was a variety show for kids, offering different kinds of fun in each segment. It was a wild mix that kept viewers on their toes, never knowing what would come next. For kids in the 70s, The Banana Splits was pure entertainment, a show where imagination knew no bounds. It felt like a playground where music, humor, and fantasy collided. Who wouldn't want to dive back into that world, where every episode felt like a new adventure and every character brought a smile? Lidsville.
Lidsville is a cookie, Lidsville is a Lidsville is a
Lidsville. If Alice in Wonderland had a 70s makeover with a psychedelic twist, you'd get Lidsville. This was another creation from Sid and Marty Croft, known for their fantastical and slightly surreal children's shows. Lidsville was all about a boy named Mark who falls into a giant magician's hat and ends up in a bizarre world where everyone is, well, a hat. In Lidsville, hats talk, walk, and have personalities all their own, from cowboy hats to chef's hats. It was weird, whimsical, and a little wacky. The perfect formula to capture a kid's attention. Each episode followed Mark's attempts to escape Lidsville, often thwarted by the evil magician Horatio J. Hoodoo, who was as ridiculous as he was menacing. Remember the mix of laughter and a little bit of nervousness you felt whenever Hoodoo appeared? That was part of the magic. Lidsville took kids on a journey through a world unlike anything else on TV. It wasn't logical, but it was colorful, strange, and so much fun to watch. Captain Kangaroo.
Good morning, Captain. Come on out and play.
Kangaroo. Captain Kangaroo wasn't just a show. It was like visiting a friend every morning. With his big pockets, gentle manner, and friendly smile, Captain Kangaroo, played by Bob Keeshan, was the ultimate comforting presence. He welcomed kids into his world with warmth, humor, and a sense of wonder that made every episode feel like a special visit. The show combined storytelling, puppetry, and little life lessons, creating a calm, engaging experience that made kids feel safe and valued. Captain Kangaroo featured beloved characters like Mr. Green Jeans, the eccentric farmer, and Bunny Rabbit, the mischievous little puppet who loved to trick the captain. Each character added something unique to the show, creating a community that felt real and welcoming. Watching Captain Kangaroo was like hanging out with a fun uncle who always had something interesting to share. In a world of fast-paced cartoons, Captain Kangaroo was a gentle reminder to slow down and enjoy the little things. The show taught kindness, patience, and curiosity without ever feeling preachy. For kids of the 70s, it was a safe place to start the day. Imagine sitting down with the captain one more time, listening to his stories and getting lost in his friendly magical world. The Bugaloos.
Oh, Sparky, soon your fear will all.
The Bugaloos was a mix of music, fantasy, and fun, brought to life by Sid and Marty Croft. This live-action series followed a group of insect-themed teenagers, Joy, Courage, IQ, and Harmony, who lived in Tranquility Forest and could fly with the help of their bug wings. Think of it as a mix between the Monkees and Peter Pan, with a dash of 70s rock thrown in for good measure. They had catchy songs, zany adventures, and a villain in the form of Benita Bizarre, a jealous singer who lived in a jukebox and was constantly trying to sabotage the Bugaloos' harmony. The Bugaloos didn't just solve problems, they sang their way through life, spreading joy and friendship. Each episode featured original songs that stuck in your head long after the show ended. The Bugaloos were a symbol of carefree youth and positivity, and for kids, they represented the ultimate fantasy, living in a magical forest surrounded by friends and always managing to outsmart the bad guys. Watching The Bugaloos was like being part of a whimsical band that valued friendship and fun above all else. The show's upbeat songs and colorful visuals made it a joy to watch, and it gave kids a sense of belonging. Who wouldn't want to spend another day in Tranquility Forest flying alongside the Bugaloos and singing their hearts out? If Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids.
Hey, hey, hey! It's Fat Albert, and I'm gonna sing a song.
Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids was more than just a cartoon. It was a lesson in friendship, community, and growing up. Created by Bill Cosby, the show followed Fat Albert and his group of friends as they navigated the challenges of childhood in their urban neighborhood. Each episode tackled real-life issues like bullying, self-esteem, and honesty, making it one of the first animated shows to bring social topics to Saturday morning TV. Do you remember that iconic line, "Hey, hey, hey"? Just hearing it brings back memories of those afternoons spent learning valuable life lessons in the most entertaining way. Fat Albert and his friends, Meeshmouth, Rudy, Dumb Donald, and the rest of the gang were relatable and memorable, each with their own quirks and personalities. And the Junkyard Band? Absolute classic. Using makeshift instruments from found objects, they'd end each episode with a song that reinforced the lesson of the day. It was fun and meaningful at the same time, showing kids that they could make a difference in their world. Fat Albert wasn't just a character, he was a role model, a friend, and a guide through some of childhood's toughest moments. For kids of the 70s, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids wasn't just a cartoon, it was a piece of their lives. Who wouldn't want to join the gang in the junkyard one more time, listening to a new tune and learning a lesson that sticks with you? The new ScoobyDoo Movies.
Hey, Scooby! Where are you?
The new Scooby-Doo movies took everything that kids loved about the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And turned it up a notch with a fun twist, celebrity guest stars. Imagine the thrill of seeing Scooby and the gang team up with Batman and Robin, the Three Stooges, or even Sonny and Cher to solve a mystery. It was the ultimate crossover event before crossovers were even a thing, bringing pop culture icons and beloved cartoon characters together in ways that blew young minds. Each episode followed the familiar format. Scooby, Shaggy, Fred, Daphne, and Velma stumble upon a mystery, usually involving a ghost or monster, but now they had famous help. Do you remember the excitement of wondering who would show up next? It added an element of surprise and made each episode feel like an event. The celebrity appearances kept the show fresh and exciting, and the longer episode length allowed for more elaborate plots and gags. For fans, the new ScoobyDoo Movies was a dream come true. It was like having your favorite characters meet your other favorite characters, all in one place. Who wouldn't want to ride in the Mystery Machine and see what other surprises were in store? Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats! Josie and the Pussycats!
Josie and the Pussycats was the ultimate mix of music, mystery, and adventure, starring an all-girl rock band who found themselves solving mysteries while on tour. Inspired by Archie comics, the show featured Josie, the lead singer, Valerie, the brainy bassist, and Melody, the ditzy but lovable drummer. They were fun, fashionable, and fiercely independent, ideal role models for girls who wanted to see strong female characters having adventures of their own. Each episode took Josie and her bandmates to new and exotic locations where they inevitably encountered villains and got swept up in mystery solving. It was like a musical version of Scooby-Doo, with catchy songs and a bit of glam rock flair. And who could forget their iconic costumes, those leopard print outfits that were as memorable as the band's catchy tunes. Their theme song alone is enough to bring back waves of nostalgia. Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears for hats. For kids of the 70s, Josie and the Pussycats was a breath of fresh air, showing girls that they could rock out and save the day, all while looking fabulous. Who wouldn't want to join the band for one more adventure, playing music and solving mysteries along the way? Super Friends. Super Friends was the superhero team-up show that kids in the 70s couldn't get enough of. Featuring DC Comics legends like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, this show was a powerhouse lineup of heroes fighting villains to protect the world. Watching Super Friends felt like joining an elite team. Every episode brought the excitement of seeing the world's greatest superheroes working together. It was action-packed, inspiring, and showed kids that teamwork and bravery could overcome any evil. The show also introduced new characters like Wonder Twin Zan and Gina, who added a fun, youthful vibe with their unique Wonder Twin powers. And who could forget their blue monkey sidekick, Gleek? They brought humor and freshness to the team dynamic, making the heroes feel more relatable to young viewers. Each episode, the heroes faced different threats, from mad scientists to natural disasters, teaching kids about courage, friendship, and helping others. For kids, Super Friends wasn't just a show, it was an invitation to believe in heroes and imagine that they too could make a difference. Who wouldn't want to spend one more Saturday morning watching their favorite superheroes save the day? Speed Buggy. Buggy. Speed Buggy was a show about friendship, adventure, and a talking dune buggy named, well, Speed Buggy. Speed Buggy wasn't just any car, he was a lovable, sentient character with a personality all his own. Imagine a cross between Scooby-Doo and the Love Bug, with a dash of 70s charm thrown in. Speed Buggy, along with his friends Tinker, Debbie, and Mark, would travel around solving mysteries and competing in races, often facing villains who tried to sabotage their efforts. For kids, Speed Buggy was the ultimate buddy, bringing laughter, action, and a bit of slapstick comedy to every episode. Watching his adventures was pure fun, and the dynamic between Speed Buggy and his friends made the show feel like one big road trip with your best pal. The show's lighthearted tone and lovable characters made it easy for kids to get lost in the excitement, rooting for Speed Buggy and his crew every step of the way. Speed Buggy embodied the spirit of the 70s with a mix of adventure, friendship, and a bit of fantasy. For fans, it was a show that made every Saturday morning feel like an adventure on wheels. Who wouldn't want to hop in for one last ride with Speed Buggy and the gang racing toward fun and mystery? Schoolhouse Rock.
It's Schoolhouse Rockin', a chip on the block, on your favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock wasn't your typical Saturday morning cartoon. It was the cartoon that actually made learning cool. This series of short animated music videos covered everything from grammar to math to history, using catchy songs that somehow made things like multiplication tables and American government genuinely fun. Remember Conjunction Junction, What's Your Function, or I'm Just a Bill? These songs weren't just catchy, they were downright unforgettable. For kids growing up in the 70s, Schoolhouse Rock was that rare educational content that didn't feel like homework. It felt like a jam session that happened to make you smarter. Each episode was a standalone lesson set to music, and the animation was simple but memorable, with characters and lyrics that stuck with you long after the show ended. Schoolhouse Rock managed to make topics like the legislative process and parts of speech accessible to kids in a way that textbooks never could. Even decades later, you can probably remember how a noun is a person, place, or thing. Thanks to these little musical masterpieces, the show blurred the lines between entertainment and education, proving that learning didn't have to be boring. Space Ghost. Space Ghost. Before Space Ghost was known for hosting a talk show in the 90s, he was a straight-up superhero defending the galaxy from villains. Space Ghost was an animated action show that took kids on intergalactic adventures, introducing them to a whole new universe of heroes, villains, and outer space battles. Space Ghost, with his iconic white suit and flowing cape, was joined by his teenage sidekicks, Jan and Jace, and their pet monkey, Blip. Together they fought evil with the help of Space Ghost's Inviso power, laser beams, and a variety of futuristic gadgets. For kids, Space Ghost was pure sci-fi excitement. It was filled with strange planets, powerful villains, and epic showdowns that made you want to suit up and save the galaxy yourself. The animation style was classic, and Space Ghost's gadgets and abilities made him one of the coolest superheroes on TV. Watching him zap enemies with his wristbands or go invisible to sneak up on villains was the height of excitement for young viewers. Although the original series didn't have a long run, Space Ghost's impact was lasting. He became a cult icon, and his revival in the 90s as a comedic talk show host only added to his legacy. For fans of the original Space Ghost, he'll always be remembered as a heroic protector of the universe. Who wouldn't want to take a trip back to those days of outer space battles and heroic adventures? Hong Kong Phooey.
Could be Hong Kong Phooey.
Hong Kong Phooey was the karate-chopping superhero we never knew we needed. A mild-mannered janitor by day, a crime-fighting martial artist by night, or whenever trouble called. This goofy, lovable dog donned a red robe and black mask to become Hong Kong Phooey, the world's most unlikely hero. With his trusty sidekick, Spot the Cat, and his Hong Kong Book of Kung Fu, Hong Kong Phooey took on villains with a mix of slapstick humor and accidental heroics that had kids laughing and cheering him on. What made Hong Kong Phooey so memorable was his total lack of actual skill. He wasn't a trained martial artist, and his moves usually ended in hilarious mishaps. Yet somehow, things always worked out, often thanks to Spot's unnoticed help. The theme song was an instant classic. Who's the super cool cop? It's Hong Kong Phooey, and his transformation from janitor to superhero was as amusing as it was iconic. Every episode was a blend of action and comedy that kept kids glued to the screen. For fans, Hong Kong Phooey was all about cheering for the underdog, literally, and laughing at his mishaps. Imagine sitting down to watch him bumble through another crime-fighting adventure, secretly knowing Spot would save the day. Who wouldn't want to join Hong Kong Phooey for one more kung fu adventure? The Wombles.
Wombling free, the Wombles of Wimbledon, common are we.
The Wombles was a British import that taught kids the importance of taking care of the environment long before going green was a trend. These furry creatures lived on Wimbledon Common and spent their days picking up litter and finding creative ways to reuse it. Each Womble had a unique personality. There was wise old Great Uncle Bulgaria, energetic Orinoco, and practical-minded Tobermory, among others. For kids, the Wombles' message of environmental stewardship was easy to understand and made recycling seem like a fun adventure. With its charming animation and lovable characters, the Wombles quickly became a favorite. Each episode showed the Wombles finding human litter and turning it into something useful, a concept that fascinated kids and made them think twice about throwing things away. The Wombles were like eco-friendly role models, showing that even the smallest actions could make a difference. Their creativity in repurposing trash made the show not only entertaining but also subtly educational. For 70s kids, the Wombles was more than just a cartoon. It was a call to to action. It taught them that taking care of the planet was everyone's responsibility. Who wouldn't want to hang out with the Wombles again, learning new ways to turn trash into treasure? The Croft Super Show. The Croft Super Show was like a theme park in TV form created by the genius minds of Sid and Marty Croft. This variety show featured several miniseries, each with its own wild concept and colorful characters. Hosted by the fictional band Captain Cool and the Kongs, the show introduced kids to Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, Dr. Shrinker, Wonderbug, and other unforgettable segments. It was like a buffet of fantasy, adventure, and superhero action all rolled into one, with each story bringing something different to the table. For kids, the Croft Super Show was a roller coaster of excitement. You never knew which adventure you'd get next. Maybe Electra Woman and Dinah Girl would be fighting a villain, or Wonderbug would be zooming through a chase scene. The Kongs added a musical touch, making the show feel like a mini concert interspersed with fantasy. Sid and Marty Croft's signature style, a mix of campy humor, quirky plots, and outlandish characters, made it impossible not to get hooked. For 70s kids, this show was a weekly adventure that kept them on the edge of their seats. Imagine being able to tune in again, not knowing which strange new story awaited. Who wouldn't want to revisit the Croft Super Show for one more round of fun fantasy and unforgettable characters? These forgotten TV shows might have faded from the screen, but they'll always be a part of our childhood memories. From learning life lessons with Fat Albert to singing along with Schoolhouse Rock and cheering for heroes like Space Ghost, these shows shaped who we were and how we saw the world. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Those Wonder Years and let us know in the comments. Which of these forgotten shows do you miss most? Let's keep the memories alive, one classic show at a time. Do you ever find yourself craving the snacks you grew up with in the 1970s? In this video, we're taking a tasty trip back in time to explore 20 famous snacks from the 70s that we miss today. From Space Food Sticks to Bonkers Candy, these iconic snacks were a huge part of childhood and family life back then. Stick around, you might just remember a few of these favorites from your own lunchbox. Space Food Sticks. Space Food Sticks were a snack straight out of the space race era, designed to tap into the excitement around NASA's moon mission. Developed in collaboration with the Pillsbury Company and NASA in the late 1960s, these energy bars were marketed as the same kind of food astronauts would eat in space. For kids in the 1970s, eating Space Food Sticks felt like participating in the excitement of the final frontier. They came in flavors like chocolate, peanut butter, and caramel, and had a chewy, dense texture that made them feel substantial, almost like a protein bar. You probably remember seeing these advertised during Saturday morning cartoons or in the lunchboxes of your friends. They were sold as a futuristic snack, a symbol of innovation, and something that connected everyday people to the space age. Space Food Sticks were wrapped in foil, adding to their space vibe, and kids loved the idea of eating something that astronauts might be munching on while orbiting the Earth. What made them special wasn't just the marketing, it was the fact that they were genuinely a bit different from other snacks. They weren't overly sweet, and the chewy texture gave them a unique eating experience. For many, Space Food Sticks represented the curiosity and technological excitement of the 1970s. Marathon Bar. The Marathon Bar was a chocolate lover's dream, and if you were a kid in the 1970s, you probably remember it well. This candy bar wasn't just about taste, it was about the experience. A full 8 inches long, it was known for its braided, chewy caramel center coated in rich milk chocolate. The length of the bar was a big part of its appeal, and it even came with a ruler on the packaging so you could see just how long it was. Marathon bars were perfect for kids who wanted to get the most bang for their buck. Because the caramel was so chewy, it took a while to eat, making it feel like you were getting a lot more candy compared to other bars on the market. It wasn't something you could just scarf down in one bite. It demanded time and attention. You likely recall it lasting through entire movies or long car rides, becoming almost a challenge to finish. It was also memorable because it stood out from other candy bars in its design, long, twisted, and unlike anything else on the shelf. The unique shape and extended eating experience made it a favorite, especially among those who loved caramel. While it was discontinued in the early 80s, the Marathon Bar left a lasting impression on those who were lucky enough to enjoy it during its heyday. Freshen Up Gum. Freshen Up gum was a standout product in the world of chewing gum during the 1970s because of its unique twist. Literally, each piece of Freshen Up had a liquid center, which burst in your mouth when you bit into it. This unexpected splash of flavor was what made the gum so memorable. With flavors like peppermint, spearmint, and cinnamon, Freshen Up gave you a hit of freshness that regular gums didn't offer. The experience of chewing Freshen Up was almost like having two products in one. You'd start with a firm piece of gum, but as soon as you bit down, the liquid center would squirt out, giving you an instant rush of flavor. It was a surprise every time, and something that made it different from traditional gum, which only released its flavor slowly. You can probably still remember the sensation of that first bite, when the liquid would explode in your mouth. It was like a fun treat, both for the flavor and the experience. It was especially popular with kids and teens, because it felt more interactive than regular gum. While it might seem simple by today's standards, at the time, Freshen Up's liquid center was a novelty, offering something fresh, pun intended, in a crowded candy aisle. PB Max. PB Max was a short-lived but unforgettable snack in the late 1970s and early 1980s. If you were a fan of peanut butter, PB Max was the ultimate treat. It featured a thick layer of creamy peanut butter sprinkled with crunchy oats or cookie bits, all topped off with a generous coating of milk chocolate. The mix of textures, smooth, crunchy, and creamy, was what made PB Max such a standout snack. This was not your typical candy bar. PB Max had a heft to it. The peanut butter flavor was rich and intense, giving it a more substantial feel than other snacks. It was marketed as a more grown-up, indulgent snack, but kids and teens loved it for its decadence. You might remember finding it at convenience stores or gas stations where it stood out on the shelf next to the simpler candy bars of the time. PB Max was unique because it wasn't overly sweet. The peanut butter and oats gave it a savory edge, balancing out the sweetness of the chocolate. It wasn't just a snack you grabbed in a rush, it was something you savored. Though it didn't stay on the market for long, its rich flavor and satisfying texture still linger in the memories of those who were lucky enough to enjoy it. Chocolate cigarettes. Chocolate cigarettes were a popular treat in the 1970s, especially for kids who wanted to mimic adult behavior in a playful way. These candy sticks were designed to look like real cigarettes, with a thin layer of chocolate shaped like a cigarette and sometimes wrapped in paper with fake branding. The chocolate was sweet and smooth, providing the perfect little snack for kids on the go. You probably remember how fun it was to pretend to smoke them before eating the chocolate. It wasn't just about the taste, it was about the experience. Kids would hold them like real cigarettes, blow on them, and then eat them once they were done with the charade. For a time, they were seen as a fun and harmless treat, available at convenience stores, candy shops, and gas stations. In hindsight, the concept of chocolate cigarettes was controversial, and by today's standards, it seems strange to market a candy designed to mimic smoking. As awareness of smoking's dangers grew, these candies gradually disappeared from shelves. Still, for those who grew up in the 70s, chocolate cigarettes are a nostalgic reminder of a time when candy was tied to playful, imaginative experiences that, though questionable in retrospect, were part of a simpler era. Danish Go-Rounds. Danish Go-Rounds were an early version of the modern Pop-Tarts, but with a twist. These toaster pastries, introduced in the 1970s, were thinner and had a flaky, more pastry-like texture compared to their successors. Danish Go-Rounds came in a variety of fruit flavors such as strawberry, cinnamon, and apple, making them a quick and convenient breakfast or snack option. They were designed to be toasted, giving them a warm, crispy exterior with a sweet, gooey filling inside. You might remember grabbing a Danish Go-Round on rush school mornings or as an after-school snack. They were popular because of their ease of preparation. Just pop them in the toaster, and within minutes, you had a warm, sweet treat. The flaky pastry was different from other breakfast items at the time, and it felt like a bit of indulgence to enjoy something that was sweet, but also had a fancy pastry texture. Though Danish Go-Rounds paved the way for the wildly successful Pop-Tarts, they eventually disappeared from the market. Their more delicate structure made them prone to breaking, and as Pop-Tarts gained popularity for their durability and thicker frosting, Danish Go-Rounds faded into obscurity. However, for those who grew up eating them, their flaky texture and sweet filling remain a fond memory of simpler, delicious times. Hostess Chocodiles. Hostess Chocodiles were a unique twist on the iconic Twinkie, adding a chocolate coating that elevated the classic snack cake to new heights. Introduced in the 1970s, Chocodiles took the soft, cream-filled sponge cake everyone knew and loved and dipped it in a rich layer of chocolate, making it an even more indulgent treat. This combination of light, fluffy cake and smooth chocolate made it a favorite among those with a sweet tooth. You probably remember the thrill of finding a Chocodile in your lunchbox or grabbing one from the local convenience store. The chocolate coating added a new texture and richness, making the familiar Twinkie experience feel more special. The individually wrapped Chocodiles were easy to pack for snacks or lunch, and the mix of chocolate and creamy filling was irresistible to kids and adults alike. While Twinkies remained a household name, Chocodiles eventually became harder to find and were discontinued in many areas. Their limited availability has turned them into a nostalgic treat for those who remember them fondly, and though they've made brief comebacks, they've never regained the widespread popularity they had in the 1970s. For those lucky enough to have tasted them, Chocodiles remain a sweet memory of an era when Hostess snacks reigned supreme. Fizzies. Fizzies were a fizzy drink tablet popular in the 1960s and 70s, and for many kids, they offered a DIY soda experience at home. These colorful, flavored tablets were dropped into a glass of water, where they would fizz up and transform into a bubbly, sweet drink. Fizzies came in a variety of flavors, such as cherry, grape, orange, and root beer, making them an exciting and fun way to enjoy a soda-like beverage without needing to buy an actual soft drink. You might remember the fun of watching the tablet dissolve, creating a fizzy, colorful spectacle in your glass. For kids, it was like a science experiment you could drink, and the novelty of making your own soda at home was thrilling. They were often packed in lunchboxes or enjoyed after school, and their convenience made them a popular choice for parents looking for an easy, inexpensive treat. Fizzies eventually fell out of favor as prepackaged sodas and other sugary drinks became more accessible and popular. Concerns over artificial ingredients and the growing availability of canned sodas likely contributed to their decline. However, for those who grew up with fizzies, they remain a fun, nostalgic memory of a time when making your own fizzy drink at home was the height of excitement. Sugar Mama Caramels. Sugar Mama Caramels were a rich, chewy treat that was beloved in the 1970s. These long, sticky caramel bars were covered in a layer of chocolate, offering a perfect combination of sweetness and chewiness that could last for what felt like forever. They were part of the Sugar Daddy and Sugar Babies family, but the Sugar Mama bars stood out due to their chocolate coating, making them a more indulgent and satisfying option for caramel lovers. You likely remember how sticky these bars were, requiring some serious dedication to eat. It wasn't a snack you could finish in a few bites. Sugar Mama Caramels had a way of lingering, both in flavor and texture. Whether you picked them up at the corner store or found one tucked into your Halloween candy stash, Sugar Mama Caramels were a go-to for kids who craved something sweet but substantial. As trends in candy shifted toward lighter, less sticky options, Sugar Mama Caramels started to disappear from shelves. Their chewy, sticky texture didn't quite fit into the changing candy landscape, but for those who enjoyed them, the bars remain a nostalgic reminder of a time when candy required a bit of effort and tasted all the better for it. Pizza Spins. Pizza Spins were a unique snack introduced in the early 1970s that combined the appeal of pizza with the convenience of a crunchy, bite-sized snack. Shaped like little spirals, Pizza Spins were coated with a savory blend of pizza-inspired seasonings, including tomato, cheese, and herbs. They quickly became a hit with kids and adults alike who loved the idea of eating pizza-flavored snacks without having to heat up an actual pizza. You might remember Pizza Spins as a perfect after-school snack or something fun to munch on during a Saturday movie marathon. The spirals had just the right amount of crunch, and the bold pizza flavor made them stand out from other snacks on the shelves. Whether you ate them straight from the bag or shared them with friends, Pizza Spins delivered a satisfying pizza-like experience without the mess. Despite their popularity, Pizza Spins were discontinued after just a few years on the market, leaving many fans craving their return. The distinct flavor and playful shape have turned Pizza Spins into a sought-after piece of snack nostalgia, with those who remember them wishing they could find that pizza flavor in a crunchy snack again. Kugel. Kugel was a quirky and memorable peanut butter spread introduced in the 1970s, offering a unique twist on the traditional peanut butter sandwich. What set Kugel apart was its variety of unusual flavors, including chocolate, banana, cinnamon, and vanilla. It wasn't just plain peanut butter, it was peanut butter with a fun, flavored spin that made sandwiches, snacks, and even spoonfuls out of the jar a lot more exciting. If you grew up in the 70s, you probably remember seeing the colorful Kugel jars on grocery store shelves, with its smiling mascot and catchy jingles on TV commercials. The combination of flavors made it a popular choice for kids who wanted something different in their lunchboxes. Whether it was a chocolate-flavored peanut butter sandwich or a banana peanut butter spread on toast, Kugel turned a basic snack into a flavor adventure. Kugel eventually disappeared from the market as consumer tastes shifted back to more traditional peanut butter flavors. Its short-lived existence makes it a nostalgic favorite for those who got to experience its unique, sweet twists on peanut butter. Even though it's no longer available, Kugel remains a fun reminder of the experimental snacks that defined the 1970s. Chalk-Aid. Chalk-Aid was one of the more peculiar snacks of the 1970s, designed to look like bandages but made entirely out of chocolate. These chocolate band-aids came individually wrapped in foil, mimicking real first aid supplies, which gave them a playful, almost mischievous appeal. For kids, Chalk-Aid wasn't just about enjoying a piece of chocolate, it was about the novelty of pretending to heal wounds with a tasty treat. You probably remember how fun it was to pull out a Chalk-Aid bandage and pretend you were patching yourself up before biting into it. The chocolate itself was simple and sweet, but the experience of eating candy shaped like something completely unexpected made it memorable. It was the kind of snack you might have found at the local candy store or tucked into a lunchbox, sparking smiles and a bit of silliness. Though Chalk-Aid didn't stick around for long, its playful concept made it a standout snack during its time. Today it's remembered as one of those uniquely 70s creations that combined humor with a sweet treat, making it more than just candy. It was an experience that tapped into the imagination of kids. Boppers. Boppers were a delicious and unique snack from the late 1970s that quickly gained a loyal following. These round treats featured a creamy peanut butter center mixed with crunchy cookie bits, all covered in a layer of smooth chocolate. Boppers stood out because they weren't quite a candy bar or a cookie. They were a satisfying combination of both, offering a crunchy, chewy snack experience that hit all the right notes. If you were lucky enough to enjoy Boppers, you likely remember the excitement of biting through the chocolate shell into the rich peanut butter center. The mix of textures was a big part of the appeal, and the size made it a perfect snack for school lunches or after-school treats. Boppers were different from most snacks at the time, offering a more indulgent, dessert-like experience in a convenient bite-sized format. Despite their popularity, Boppers were discontinued relatively quickly, making them one of those forgotten treasures from the 1970s snack aisle. Fans who remember them often compare their rich flavor and unique texture to more modern snacks like Reese's or PB Max, but for those who enjoyed Boppers, nothing quite compares to the original. Amazin' Raisin. Amazin' Raisin was a unique candy from the 1970s that took the classic raisin and added a fun, flavorful twist. Each Amazin' Raisin was coated in a sweet, flavored candy shell, turning a simple raisin into a fruity, chewy treat. The flavors ranged from orange and lemon to cherry and grape, giving a burst of fruity flavor that balanced out the natural sweetness of the raisin. It was marketed as a healthier alternative to traditional candy, but with all the fun of sugary treats. You probably remember Amazin' Raisins as a go-to snack for kids who wanted something fruity but weren't reaching for regular candy. The candy coating made them feel like a treat, while the raisin inside added a bit of wholesomeness, making it a snack parents didn't mind packing in lunchboxes. They were small, portable, and fun to eat, offering a mix of chewy and sweet that made them stand out from other snacks. Although Amazin' Raisin didn't stick around for long, its blend of fruit and candy made it a memorable snack for those who tried it. For fans, it's a nostalgic reminder of the creative and experimental candies of the 1970s, when even something as simple as a raisin could be turned into a fun, flavor-packed treat. Bonkers Candy. Bonkers Candy was a wildly popular treat in the 1970s and 80s that left a lasting impression on those who grew up enjoying it. This candy stood out for its unique dual-layer structure, a fruity, chewy outer shell with an even fruitier, softer filling inside. Bonkers came in a variety of bold flavors, including grape, strawberry, and watermelon, and the combination of textures made every bite an explosion of flavor. What really made Bonkers memorable were the fun and quirky commercials that often featured characters literally being bonked over by the intense flavor of the candy. These playful ads made Bonkers a hit with kids, turning it into one of the must-have snacks during recess or after school. You probably remember the satisfying chew and that juicy, fruity burst when you bit into the candy, making it a delicious and fun experience every time. Despite its popularity, Bonkers eventually disappeared from store shelves, leaving many candy lovers wondering why such a beloved treat was discontinued. Though it's made brief comebacks over the years, the original Bonkers remains a nostalgic favorite for those who miss its bold flavors and playful vibe. Giggles Cookies. Giggles Cookies were a playful snack from the 1970s and early 80s that brought smiles to kids' faces, literally. These sandwich cookies had a distinctive feature, 2 smiling faces stamped into the top of each cookie. Inside, they were filled with both chocolate and vanilla cream, making them a tasty treat that combined the best of both worlds. The combination of the creamy filling and the crunchy cookie shell made Giggles a favorite during snack time. You likely remember the fun of seeing those smiling faces staring back at you before you took that first bite. The lighthearted design and dual-flavored cream gave these cookies a unique edge compared to other sandwich cookies of the time, like Oreos. Giggles cookies were especially popular in lunchboxes, offering a fun and delicious dessert to enjoy after a meal or as an after-school treat. Despite their popularity, Giggles cookies eventually vanished from store shelves, leaving many snack lovers wishing for their return. Their fun design and delightful mix of chocolate and vanilla cream have made them a nostalgic memory for those who grew up enjoying them, symbolizing the playful, carefree snacking culture of the 70s and 80s. Wacky Wafers. Wacky Wafers were a beloved candy from the 1970s, known for their oversized, colorful appearance and bold, fruity flavors. Each wafer was about the size of a quarter and came in flavors like watermelon, banana, orange, green apple, and strawberry. Packaged in long, clear wrappers, Wacky Wafers were as fun to look at as they were to eat, offering a crunchy, sweet treat with every bite. If you grew up with Wacky Wafers, you probably remember the excitement of choosing which flavor to try first. The wafers had a distinctive crunch, and their vibrant colors made them stand out on store shelves. Wacky Wafers were often a go-to candy for movie theaters or road trips, providing a long-lasting, satisfying snack that was easy to share with friends. Although Wacky Wafers disappeared from stores for many years, their memorable flavors and crunchy texture left a lasting impression. Fans of this iconic candy fondly remember the experience of biting into one of the large wafers and the burst of tangy, fruity flavor that followed. For those who enjoyed them, Wacky Wafers remain a sweet symbol of carefree childhood days. Whistles. Whistles were one of the more playful snacks of the 1970s, combining both food and fun. These whistle-shaped cookies weren't just for eating. They had small holes that allowed you to blow through them, making a whistle sound before taking a bite. The cookies themselves had a mild, buttery sweetness, similar to traditional butter cookies, and came in small, colorful packaging that made them perfect for lunchboxes or after-school snacks. You might remember the joy of sitting with friends, taking turns blowing through the whistles before finally indulging in the crispy treat. It wasn't just about the taste, it was the experience of turning your snack into a toy. This added element of interaction made them especially popular among kids, who loved combining the simple pleasure of a cookie with the fun of making noise. The design of the cookie, with its functional whistle shape, made it stand out from other treats at the time. Whistles were a common feature at birthday parties, where their unique shape and fun design made them a hit. While the flavor was simple and sweet, the playful experience of the snack was what truly set it apart, offering kids something a little different than the usual cookie or candy bar. Crazy Cow cereal. Crazy Cow cereal was a breakfast favorite in the 1970s, offering not just a crunchy, sweet cereal, but a fun twist that made it stand out. The cereal came in 2 flavors, chocolate and strawberry, but the real magic happened when you poured milk over it. As the cereal pieces soaked in the milk, they transformed the liquid into a flavored milkshake-like drink, chocolate or strawberry, while still delivering a satisfying, crunchy bite. You might remember how exciting it was to watch your bowl of cereal slowly turn into a sweet, colorful pool of flavored milk. The concept of turning regular milk into something that resembled a milkshake was a huge hit with kids, making Crazy Cow not just a breakfast, but an event. The chocolate and strawberry flavors were both rich and satisfying, catering to kids with a sweet tooth who wanted more from their cereal than just crunch. The playful cow mascot on the box, along with the promise of flavored milk, made Crazy Cow cereal a breakfast favorite for many households. While it wasn't around for long, its unique selling point of transforming milk into a flavorful drink gave it a special place in the lineup of fun, interactive cereals of the 1970s. Screaming Yellow Zonkers. Screaming Yellow Zonkers were a bright and bold snack from the 1970s that stood out not just for their unique flavor, but also for their quirky packaging. These sweet, buttery popcorn pieces were coated in a thin layer of sugary glaze, giving them a light crunch with each bite. What really set Screaming Yellow Zonkers apart, however, was the clever, humorous copy on the box, which often included jokes, riddles, and offbeat humor that appealed to both kids and adults. You might remember tearing into a box of Screaming Yellow Zonkers and enjoying the airy, sweet popcorn while reading the fun and strange messages printed on the packaging. The popcorn itself had a subtle, caramel-like flavor that wasn't overly sweet, making it easy to eat an entire box in one sitting. It was a snack that balanced flavor with a bit of irreverence, turning snack time into a playful experience. Screaming Yellow Zonkers were marketed as a fun alternative to other popcorn snacks like Cracker Jack, with a focus on creativity and fun. Their bright yellow color and catchy name made them hard to forget, and the combination of clever marketing and tasty popcorn made them a popular snack during their time. That wraps up our list of 20 famous snacks from the 1970s that we all miss. From space food sticks to Crazy Cow cereals, these snacks defined an era of fun and creativity in the food world. Do you remember any of these, or is there a favorite that we left out? Let us know in the comments below. Do you ever feel nostalgic for the kitchens of the 70s? In this video, we're uncovering 25 forgotten 1970s kitchen items that once defined every home. Many of these essentials have disappeared, but they were at the center of daily life. From avocado-colored blenders to fondue sets, these forgotten tools will stir up memories of family dinners and weekend gatherings. Stick around. Who knows, the last one might still be hiding in your attic. Avocado green blenders. Avocado green blenders were a fixture in nearly every 1970s kitchen, blending right in, no pun intended, with the earth tone decor that dominated the decade. These blenders, typically made by brands like Oster or Hamilton Beach, didn't just stand out because of their functionality, they were a statement piece. The bold avocado green color matched the popular shades of kitchen appliances at the time, like Harvest Gold and Burnt Orange, creating a harmonious, nature-inspired palette. You probably remember using one of these to whip up everything from smoothies to milkshakes, or maybe even a batch of pancake batter on a Saturday morning. The solid build of these blenders meant they could take on just about anything you threw in, and they seemed indestructible. Many people passed their avocado green blender down through the family, as these durable machines often lasted for decades. Whether you got yours from a department store like Sears, or it was a wedding gift, that iconic green color became synonymous with 70s kitchens. Even if you didn't think twice about it back then, seeing one today probably takes you right back to those moments of blending up something delicious for family or friends. Fondue sets. Fondue sets were an essential part of 1970s kitchen culture, turning dinner into a fun, interactive event. Whether it was cheese, chocolate, or even hot oil for cooking meats, fondue was the perfect way to gather everyone around the table. These sets typically included a pot, a stand with a burner, and long forks for dipping, making every meal feel like a party. If you were hosting a get-together or family dinner, breaking out the fondue set instantly elevated the occasion. Do you remember how fondue sets became the go-to for entertaining? Many families bought theirs at department stores like JCPenney, or even picked one up through a catalog. The experience of slowly dipping bread or fruit into the bubbling cheese or chocolate was as much about socializing as it was about eating. For a while, no dinner party was complete without a fondue pot at the center of the table. Fondue wasn't just a food trend, it reflected the 70s love for communal, laid-back dining experiences. The set often came in bold colors like orange or brown, fitting in with the decade's earthy tones. Seeing one now might just remind you of evenings filled with laughter, melted cheese, and a bit of nostalgia. Harvest Gold toasters. Harvest Gold toasters were a kitchen staple in the 1970s, perfectly complementing the earth-toned appliances of the era. This bright mustard yellow color wasn't just limited to toasters. You'd see it on fridges, stoves, and mixers too. Brands like Sunbeam and General Electric embraced this bold shade, making it a must-have have in kitchens across America. The toaster in particular stood proudly on countertops, adding a pop of color to everyday breakfast routines. If you had one of these toasters, you likely remember the satisfying click and the warm aroma of toast filling the kitchen every morning. Whether you were toasting bread for breakfast or warming up bagels for a weekend brunch, this little appliance saw plenty of use. Its durability meant it could last for years, often becoming a trusty companion for family breakfasts. You probably picked one up at a local department store like Sears or Kmart, where it was featured alongside other Harvest Gold appliances. It wasn't just a practical tool, it was part of the overall aesthetic that defined 70s kitchens. That cheerful pop of gold made mornings a little brighter, and seeing one now might just take you back to the days of buttered toast and simple, cozy mornings. Electric knife. The electric knife was a cutting-edge kitchen gadget in the 1970s. Literally, with its sleek, space-age design, this tool became the go-to for slicing everything from roast beef to homemade bread with ease. Brands like Black & Decker and GE popularized these electric knives, and you could find them in almost every home, usually purchased from department stores like Montgomery Ward or Sears. They were a common sight during family holiday dinners or big gatherings, where perfectly carved meats were a must. You probably remember the buzz of the knife as it effortlessly sliced through turkey or ham, saving time and ensuring neat, even pieces. It wasn't just about efficiency. The electric knife added a bit of excitement to kitchen prep, and let's be honest, there was something satisfying about using it. The tool usually came with interchangeable blades, making it versatile for both meats and breads. For many families, the electric knife was more than just a gadget. It was a symbol of modern convenience in the kitchen, bringing a sense of innovation to everyday meals. Though it's not as common today, hearing that familiar whirring sound might still take you back to those big family dinners where this tool stole the show. Butter warmers. Butter warmers were a popular kitchen accessory in the 1970s, especially for families who loved hosting dinner parties or indulging in seafood feasts. These small, charming pots, usually made of ceramic or stainless steel, were designed to keep butter melted and warm, ready for dipping lobster, crab, or even bread. They often came in sets with tiny candle burners underneath, keeping the butter at the perfect temperature throughout the meal. You probably remember seeing butter warmers brought out for special occasions, turning a regular meal into something a little more luxurious. Whether it was a seafood night or simply serving warm bread at the dinner table, these warmers added a touch of elegance. Many families bought them at local department stores like Macy's or found them in home goods catalogs. They came in a variety of styles, from simple and functional to more decorative designs that matched the era's love for earthy tones and natural textures. Seeing one now might remind you of family gatherings where dipping food into warm, melted butter was the highlight of the meal. Crock-pot slow cookers. Crock-pot slow cookers revolutionized kitchens in the 1970s, offering a convenient way to prepare hearty meals with minimal effort. As more families had both parents working, the crock-pot became the perfect solution for busy households. You could throw in your ingredients in the morning, let it simmer all day, and come home to a fully cooked stew, roast, or chili by dinner time. Rival, the company behind the crock-pot, made it a household name, and soon these slow cookers were everywhere. You probably remember seeing a crock pot bubbling away on the counter, filling the house with the delicious smell of dinner. It was an essential part of the 70s kitchen, with its ceramic pot nestled inside a colorful, often patterned outer shell. Whether you were cooking for a family gathering or just making a simple meal, the crock pot made it easy. The convenience of the slow cooker helped change the way people approached meal preparation, turning it into a set-it-and-forget-it task. It allowed families to enjoy comforting, home-cooked meals without spending hours in the kitchen. If you ever owned one, you likely still remember the aroma that would greet you as you walked through the door after a long day. Jell-O molds. Jell-O molds were a beloved fixture in 1970s kitchens, often making appearances at family dinners, parties, and potlucks. These colorful, gelatin-based creations came in all shapes and sizes, thanks to the variety of molds that were available. Everything from bunt pan styles to more intricate floral or geometric designs. Whether filled with fruit, marshmallows, or even vegetables, Jell-O salads were a quirky, fun way to add something sweet or savory to the table. You probably remember the excitement of seeing a wobbly, jewel-toned Jell-O mold brought out for dessert. The bright colors and sometimes daring combinations made these dishes the talk of the dinner table. You could find Jell-O molds in almost any grocery store, and the variety of flavors meant you could get creative with your combinations. From strawberry with whipped cream to lime with pineapple chunks, the possibilities were endless. For many, these molds were a nostalgic nod to the creativity and whimsy of 70s cooking. They were easy to make and became a centerpiece at many family gatherings. Seeing one today can transport you right back to a time when gelatin desserts weren't just for kids. They were for everyone, and they were everywhere. Canisters for flour and sugar. Decorative canisters for flour, sugar, and other dry goods were a staple in 1970s kitchens. These practical yet stylish containers sat proudly on countertops, keeping kitchen essentials within arm's reach. Often made of ceramic, glass, or metal, and decorated with floral patterns or bold, earthy colors like orange, brown, and harvest gold, these canisters added a touch of personality to the kitchen. Popular brands like Tupperware or Anchor Hawking offered sets that many families used for years. Do you remember seeing a matching set of canisters lined up on the counter, each one labeled for sugar, flour, or coffee? They were both decorative and functional, helping to keep ingredients fresh while adding to the overall aesthetic of the kitchen. These canisters were often part of wedding gifts or housewarming presents, making them common in homes across the country. The cheerful designs and bright colors of these canisters helped bring life to kitchens, and many people enjoyed coordinating them with other kitchen decor. If you had a set, it likely saw years of use, with flour and sugar scooped out for countless meals and baking sessions. Today, they evoke a sense of warmth and nostalgia, reminding us of the hominess of 70s kitchens. Corningware dishes. Corningware dishes were a must-have in 1970s kitchens, known for their versatility and durability. These heat-resistant glass ceramic dishes, often adorned with floral patterns like the iconic blue cornflower or pastel wildflowers, were used for everything from baking casseroles to serving dinner straight from the oven. Corningware became a household name, and many families relied on these dishes for everyday cooking and entertaining. You probably remember pulling a bubbling casserole out of the oven, the Corningware dish perfectly retaining its heat as it was placed directly on the dining table. Whether you were making a lasagna or a simple baked chicken dish, these sturdy, all-purpose dishes made cooking easy. And the best part, they were microwave and dishwasher safe, a big convenience in the evolving kitchens of the 70s. Many families bought their Corningware from department stores or received it as a wedding gift. The durability of these dishes meant that they often lasted for decades, passed down from one generation to the next. If you had a set, you probably still have a few pieces today, evoking memories of family dinners, potlucks, and the comforting meals shared around the kitchen table. Microwave egg cookers. Microwave egg cookers were one of those quirky, innovative gadgets that became popular in the 1970s, offering a quick and easy way to cook eggs in the microwave. These small plastic containers, often shaped like an egg, were designed to poach, scramble, or even fry eggs with just a few minutes of microwave time. As microwaves became a standard kitchen appliance during the decade, these egg cookers quickly found their place in many homes, promising a fast breakfast without the mess of pans and stovetops. You probably remember using one of these to make a quick breakfast before heading out the door. They were especially convenient for busy mornings, and you could easily pick one up at a local department store like Sears, or even find them in catalogs. With minimal cleanup, they became a go-to tool for those looking to streamline their kitchen routines. Though not everyone embraced cooking eggs in the microwave, for those who did, these little gadgets were a lifesaver, offering a modern, time-saving solution. Seeing one today might remind you of the early days of microwave cooking, when every new gadget seemed like the future of kitchen convenience. Refrigerator water pitchers. Refrigerator water pitchers were a common sight in 1970s kitchens, designed to fit snugly inside the fridge door for easy access to cold water at any time. These pitchers, often made of durable plastic and sometimes glass, featured lids that helped keep water fresh and were a far cry from the bottled water we use today. They came in various colors and styles, but the functionality remained the same, keeping your water cold and refreshing. You probably remember pulling one of these pitchers from the fridge on a hot day, pouring a glass of cool water without the need for ice. They were especially useful in homes without built-in water dispensers, making them a practical item found in almost every kitchen. You could find them at stores like Kmart or Woolworths, and they were often bought alongside matching kitchen sets. These pitchers weren't just for water either. Many families used them for iced tea, lemonade, or even juice. The convenience and simplicity made them a beloved part of everyday life. Seeing one today brings back memories of summer afternoons, cold drinks, and a time when kitchen gadgets were all about practicality. Popcorn makers. Popcorn makers were a fun and practical addition to 1970s kitchens, especially for families who loved movie nights at home. Before microwave popcorn became the norm, these small countertop machines would pop kernels into fluffy, hot popcorn, creating an experience that was both delicious and entertaining. Many popcorn makers were air poppers, which didn't require oil, making them a healthier option. Brands like Presto or West Bend offered models that were affordable and easily available at department stores. Do you remember the excitement of watching the kernels pop and hearing that satisfying pop 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 sound? It wasn't just about the popcorn itself. It was the ritual of gathering around the machine, watching the lid slowly fill with popcorn until it overflowed into the bowl. You could top it with melted butter, salt, or other seasonings, and it quickly became a family favorite for TV nights or weekend treats. Popcorn makers were a key part of the 70s home entertainment experience. They were often a permanent fixture on kitchen counters, ready to deliver fresh, hot popcorn at a moment's notice. Looking at one now, it's easy to remember how such a simple gadget brought so much joy to family gatherings and cozy nights in. Pressure cookers. Pressure cookers were a game changer in 1970s kitchens, allowing home cooks to prepare hearty meals in a fraction of the time. These sturdy metal pots used high-pressure steam to cook everything from stews to vegetables quickly and efficiently. Brands like Presto and Miro were popular choices, and many families relied on their trusty pressure cooker to whip up meals after a busy day. If you owned one, you probably remember the distinctive hissing sound it made as it built up steam, and the little rocking valve on top was always a source of fascination. Despite their somewhat intimidating nature, pressure cookers were a staple for home chefs who wanted to save time while still making nutritious home-cooked meals. You could find them in department stores, and they were often included in wedding registries or passed down through families. Pressure cookers became especially popular for making tender meats and soups in a hurry, and their durability meant they lasted for years. Though they required some care and attention, once you got the hang of it, they became indispensable. Hearing that familiar hiss today likely brings back memories of family dinners, warm stews, and the practicality of 1970s home cooking. Ice crushers. Ice crushers were a popular kitchen gadget in the 1970s, perfect for making crushed ice for cocktails, sodas, and party drinks. Whether manual or electric, these devices were often found on kitchen counters or tucked away in a cabinet, ready to churn out ice for family gatherings and summer parties. Brands like Oster and Rival produced both hand crank and motorized versions, making it easy to prepare icy drinks on hot days. You probably remember the sound of ice cubes being ground into tiny, refreshing pieces as you prepared lemonade or a soda float. These ice crushers were especially popular for cocktail parties, where crushed ice was an essential ingredient for everything from daiquiris to margaritas. Many homes had a dedicated space for it, and it was a go-to gadget for entertaining guests. Crushing ice might seem like a simple task today, but back then, having an ice crusher added a bit of luxury and convenience to the kitchen. If you had one of these machines, you likely used it regularly for family drinks and special occasions. Seeing one now can instantly bring back memories of summer gatherings, fizzy sodas, and that unmistakable sound of ice being crushed to perfection. Electric can openers. Electric can openers were a symbol of modern convenience in the 1970s, making a once manual task as easy as the push of a button. These countertop gadgets, from brands like Hamilton Beach and Sunbeam, were designed to open cans effortlessly, saving time and making meal prep smoother. Most homes had one sitting right next to the stove or on the kitchen counter, ready to open cans of vegetables, soups, or fruit with minimal effort. You probably remember the satisfying hum as the can opener rotated the lid off in one smooth motion. No more struggling with manual openers. Electric can openers were especially helpful for busy parents or anyone looking to streamline dinner preparation. The compact design and durable build made them a long-lasting fixture in many kitchens, and they often came with a built-in bottle opener, adding to their utility. For many, this gadget was an essential part of their kitchen routine. Whether you were preparing a family meal or stocking up the pantry, the electric can opener made things just a little bit easier, fitting perfectly with the 70s push for modern kitchen appliances that promised to save time and effort. Recipe card boxes. Recipe card boxes were an essential kitchen item in the 1970s, keeping beloved family recipes organized and within arm's reach. These boxes, often made of wood, metal, or plastic, were filled with handwritten or typed recipe cards, passed down through generations or exchanged between friends. They were usually kept on the kitchen counter or tucked away in a drawer, ready to help you whip up a favorite casserole, pie, or side dish. Do you remember flipping through your recipe card box looking for that one perfect dish for a family dinner or holiday meal? These boxes often had dividers to separate appetizers, main courses, and desserts, making it easy to find exactly what you needed. Many people decorated their recipe cards with colorful borders or cute illustrations, adding a personal touch to the kitchen. Recipe card boxes weren't just about cooking, they were about preserving family traditions and memories. Each card told a story, whether it was passed down from a grandmother or scribbled down after a friend shared a favorite dish. Even today, many families still have these cherished boxes, filled with recipes that remind them of the flavors and gatherings of the past. Spice racks. Spice racks were a familiar sight in 1970s kitchens, offering a practical yet decorative way to store essential seasonings. Whether mounted on the wall or sitting on the counter, these racks held small glass or plastic jars filled with spices like paprika, oregano, and cinnamon. Popular brands like McCormick even sold spice sets that came with their own racks, making it easy to organize and access your spices for cooking. Do you remember reaching for the spice rack while preparing a favorite family recipe? These racks often came in wood, metal, or plastic, and were sometimes styled to match the earth tones and natural materials popular in 70s decor. Some racks spun on a lazy Susan, while others were tiered and mounted on the wall, adding a functional yet stylish element to the kitchen. For many home cooks, spice racks were more than just a storage solution. They were a reflection of the growing interest in cooking with a variety of flavors. Having a well-stocked spice rack made it easy to experiment with new recipes or add a little extra flair to your go-to meals. Seeing one now might remind you of the vibrant scents and flavors that filled the kitchens of the 1970s. Countertop fryers. Countertop fryers were a popular kitchen appliance in the 1970s, perfect for making crispy fries, fried chicken, and other golden brown treats right at home. These compact deep fryers, made by brands like Fry Daddy and Presto, allowed home cooks to recreate the fried foods they loved from restaurants without leaving the kitchen. They were small enough to fit on the countertop, making them convenient for everyday use. You might remember the familiar sizzle as you lowered food into the hot oil, waiting for it to reach that perfect level of crispiness. These fryers were a hit during family dinners and gatherings, especially when it came to preparing comfort foods like onion rings, fried shrimp, or donuts. The ability to make fried foods at home quickly turned countertop fryers into a must-have item. Though cleanup could sometimes be a bit of a hassle, the fryer's quick cooking time and delicious results made it worth the effort. For many, it was the centerpiece of weekend meals or special occasions. Seeing one today can bring back memories of the comforting smell of fried foods wafting through the kitchen, creating a sense of home and warmth. Pyrex measuring cups. Pyrex measuring cups were an indispensable part of 1970s kitchens, known for their durability and versatility. Made from heat-resistant glass, these measuring cups could handle everything from boiling water to mixing cake batter. They came in various sizes, with bright red measurement markings that made them easy to read. Pyrex's reputation for long-lasting, high-quality kitchenware made these measuring cups a staple in nearly every home. You probably remember using a Pyrex cup to measure out ingredients for recipes, whether you were baking cookies or preparing a family meal. These cups were especially handy because they could go from mixing to microwaving to serving without the need to switch containers. They were often passed down from one generation to the next, becoming a reliable part of the cooking routine. Many families still have their trusty Pyrex measuring cups in use today, a testament to their lasting quality. Seeing one might remind you of the countless meals and baking sessions shared with family when precise measurements were key to creating something delicious. It's one of those kitchen tools that has truly stood the test of time. Plastic dish drying racks. Plastic dish drying racks were a fixture in 1970s kitchens, taking up space next to the sink as they held freshly washed dishes, glasses, and silverware. These racks were typically made from durable, brightly colored plastic and came with sections for plates, cups, and utensils. While dishwashers were becoming more common in homes, many families still relied on these racks for their daily dish drying needs. Do you remember stacking plates in the drying rack after washing the dinner dishes? The plastic design made them lightweight and easy to clean, and the bright colors, often matching other kitchen appliances, added a bit of cheer to an otherwise mundane task. These racks were affordable and widely available at stores like Woolworths or Kmart, making them a common sight in households across the country. For many, the dish drying rack symbolized the end of a family meal when everyone pitched in to clean up. It was a simple, practical tool that was part of everyday kitchen life. Seeing one today might bring back memories of drying dishes by hand, a task that, though repetitive, was often shared and filled with casual conversation after a meal. Manual coffee grinders. Manual coffee grinders were a common kitchen tool in the 1970s, particularly for those who appreciated a fresh cup of coffee made from hand-ground beans. These grinders, often made of wood with a crank handle and metal grinding mechanism, allowed coffee lovers to grind their beans just before brewing, ensuring maximum flavor. They were a stylish addition to the kitchen and a nod to the growing appreciation for artisanal coffee. You might remember the ritual of cranking the handle as the beans were crushed, filling the kitchen with the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee. The process took a bit of effort compared to today's electric grinders, but for many, it was worth it. These grinders were often passed down through families or purchased at specialty shops, adding a vintage charm to the kitchen. Manual coffee grinders weren't just about the coffee, they were about the experience. The act of grinding your own beans created a deeper connection to the drink, making the morning cup of coffee feel like a special treat. Seeing one now might bring back memories of quiet mornings, the smell of coffee in the air, and the simple pleasure of a perfectly brewed cup. Cast iron skillets. Cast iron skillets were a kitchen essential in the 1970s, prized for their durability and versatility. These heavy-duty pans could be used on the stovetop, in the oven, or even over a campfire, making them a go-to tool for everything from frying bacon to baking cornbread. Passed down through generations, cast iron skillets were known for their ability to retain heat and develop a natural, non-stick surface over time with proper seasoning. If you had a cast iron skillet in your kitchen, you probably remember it being used for a variety of meals, from breakfast to dinner. These skillets were often the first piece of cookware someone received when starting out, and they lasted a lifetime, if not longer. Whether you were searing meat or making a crispy-edged fried egg, the cast iron skillet was a trusted companion in the kitchen. Though they required a bit more care than other pans, like regular seasoning and avoiding soap, those who used them swore by their performance. Seeing one today can bring back memories of home-cooked meals shared around the family table, with a skillet sizzling on the stove, ready to serve up something delicious. Tupperware storage sets. Tupperware storage sets were a hallmark of 1970s kitchens, representing both convenience and innovation in food storage. These colorful plastic containers, often with airtight lids, became indispensable for storing leftovers, prepping meals, or packing lunches. Tupperware parties, where friends and neighbors gathered to buy the latest designs, were a common social event, making these containers a staple in nearly every home. Do you remember the distinct pop sound of sealing a Tupperware lid, knowing your food would stay fresh for days? These sets came in a variety of sizes, perfect for everything from storing soup to stashing snacks. The bright colors, often in shades of orange, avocado green, and mustard yellow, matched the vibrant kitchen trends of the time. Tupperware wasn't just practical, it was a symbol of modern homemaking. Owning a set meant you were up to date with the latest in kitchen technology, and many families had entire cupboards dedicated to their Tupperware collection. Seeing these containers today can instantly evoke memories of packed lunches, leftovers from family dinners, and the excitement of opening a fresh Tupperware set at a home party. Egg coddlers. Egg coddlers were a unique and somewhat fancy addition to 1970s kitchens, designed to make perfectly cooked, soft-boiled eggs. These small porcelain or glass containers with a lid were used to coddle eggs by submerging the coddler into boiling water. Brands like Royal Worcester made beautifully decorated egg coddlers, often featuring floral or wildlife designs, which added a touch of elegance to breakfast time. If you had one, you likely remember cracking an egg into the coddler, adding some seasoning, and letting it cook gently in simmering water. It was a more refined way to prepare eggs, and the end result was always a smooth, creamy consistency that couldn't quite be replicated with traditional boiling methods. Egg coddlers were often seen as a step up from everyday egg cups, making them a cherished item in more formal kitchens. Though they weren't as common as other kitchen tools, egg coddlers brought a sense of sophistication to the breakfast table. Seeing one today might take you back to weekend breakfasts where time wasn't rushed, and enjoying a perfectly coddled egg felt like a small luxury amidst the busy pace of life. Melamine dinnerware. Melamine dinnerware was a popular choice for 1970s kitchens, known for being lightweight, durable, and available in a variety of vibrant colors and patterns. These unbreakable plates, bowls, and cups were perfect for casual family meals or outdoor picnics, offering a practical alternative to heavier, more fragile ceramic dishes. Brands like Melmac and Texas Ware produced many of the colorful sets found in households, often in trendy shades of orange, yellow, and avocado green. You probably remember setting the table with these brightly colored plates, especially for family dinners or backyard barbecues. The smooth, glossy finish made them easy to clean, while their resistance to chipping and breaking made them a favorite for homes with kids. Melamine dinnerware was commonly found in department stores and sold in complete sets, making it a go-to for families looking for affordable yet stylish kitchenware. The fun designs and practicality of melamine made it a hit during the 70s, and though it has faded from many kitchens, spotting a piece today might remind you of the simple joys of family meals and carefree summer picnics. That wraps up our journey through 25 forgotten kitchen items from the 1970s. These nostalgic tools and gadgets might not be common today, but they were once essential parts of everyday life. Do you remember using any of these, or did we miss a favorite from your kitchen? Let us know in the comments below. Were the toys of the 1970s the most imaginative ever created? In this video, we'll explore 22 iconic toys from the 1970s that shaped our childhood. From the stretchy fun of Stretch Armstrong to the creative magic of Light Bright, these toys defined a generation. Stick around to relive the classics that inspired endless imagination. Stretch Armstrong. What if you could have a toy that never broke, no matter how far you stretched it? Enter Stretch Armstrong, the iconic action figure from the 1970s that became a playground legend. Made from a nearly indestructible rubbery material, Stretch could be pulled, twisted, and knotted up to 4 times his original size, only to snap back into shape when released. Kids loved Stretch Armstrong for one simple reason: he was fun. Whether testing his limits with friends or using him in imaginative battles against other toys, Stretch offered endless entertainment. His unique material, filled with a mysterious gel, made him feel unlike any other action figure on the market. Pulling him to the brink of breaking was a thrilling challenge. Could he really stretch that far? Stretch Armstrong wasn't just a toy, he was a shared experience. Kids would gather around, laughing as they tried to stretch him across rooms or tie him into impossible knots. And despite all the abuse, Stretch always seemed indestructible, creating an almost magical allure. Pet rock. Can you imagine paying money for a rock? That's exactly what millions of people did in the mid-1970s when pet rock hit store shelves. This quirky phenomenon was the brainchild of Gary Dahl, who brilliantly marketed smooth pebbles as the ultimate low-maintenance pets. Each pet rock came nestled in a cardboard box with air holes and included a witty care manual filled with tongue-in-cheek instructions, such as how to train your rock to sit or stay. The humor and novelty of the idea made it a smash hit, turning an ordinary stone into a cultural icon. For kids, the pet rock was more than a gag. It was a chance to participate in a craze that swept the nation. They named their rocks, decorated them, and created imaginative backstories. Adults too couldn't resist the charm, making pet rocks a universal phenomenon. Light Bright. Do you remember the thrill of creating glowing masterpieces in a dark room? Light Bright was the ultimate creative toy of the 1970s, combining art, light, and imagination into one mesmerizing package. Light Bright came with a backlit board and tiny, colorful plastic pegs. Using pre-designed templates or their own ideas, kids would push the pegs into the board, creating bright, colorful designs that lit up with a flip of the switch. From flowers and animals to personalized patterns, the possibilities were endless. What made Light Bright magical was how it transformed the ordinary into the extraordinary. A darkened room became a gallery where children could proudly display their glowing creations. It encouraged creativity, fine motor skills, and the satisfaction of bringing an idea to life. Parents loved Light Bright because it was simple yet captivating. Kids could spend hours lost in their designs. Its quiet, focused playtime made it a staple in family living rooms. Simon says, repeat this. Simon, the electronic memory game, brought rhythm, lights, and sounds to 1970s playtime. This colorful circular gadget challenged players to memorize and repeat sequences of flashing lights and tones, testing focus and reflexes. The beauty of Sigman lay in its simplicity. The game started with one tone and light, adding a new one each round. Players had to tap the buttons in the correct order, making each level harder as the sequences grew longer. It was addictive, competitive, and thrilling, especially when you got to higher levels and the pressure was on. Sigman wasn't just a game, it was a party staple. Friends and family would gather around, cheering and laughing as the tension built. Its simple design and universal appeal made it accessible to everyone, from young children to adults. Big Wheel. Who didn't feel unstoppable riding a big wheel? This plastic tricycle with an oversized front wheel became the ultimate vehicle for neighborhood adventures. Unlike traditional bikes, the big wheel was low to the ground, giving kids a sense of speed and control that felt exhilarating. Its unique design allowed for sharp turns, skids, and even stunts, making it the go-to choice for daring kids. The sturdy plastic construction meant it could handle rough play, whether racing friends down sidewalks or navigating backyard obstacle courses. The big wheel wasn't just a toy, it was freedom on 3 wheels. It gave kids a taste of independence and adventure, while parents appreciated its safety features, like the low center of gravity that reduced tipping. For many, it wasn't just a ride, it was a ticket to endless hours of fun and exploration. Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle. What if you could recreate death-defying stunts in your backyard? The Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle brought the thrill of the legendary Daredevil straight into kids' hands. This wind-up toy, inspired by Evel Knievel himself, featured a motorcycle that could perform incredible jumps, flips, and wheelies with just a few cranks of its launcher. The magic started with the toy's simplicity. Kids would place the motorcycle on the launcher, crank it up, and release it, watching in awe as it zoomed across the floor or launched off ramps. The design encouraged creativity, as children built elaborate stunt courses out of books, cardboard, and whatever else they could find. For Evel Knievel fans, the toy was a way to channel his fearless spirit. It wasn't just about watching the stunts, it was about imagining what it would feel like to be the man behind the jumps. The crashes were just as entertaining as the successful landings, making every launch an adventure. Speak and Spell. Do you remember the robotic voice that taught you to spell? The Speak and Spell wasn't just a toy, it was an educational revolution. Introduced in the late 70s, this handheld device used groundbreaking synthesized speech to help kids learn spelling and pronunciation in a fun, interactive way. Speak and Spell offered a range of activities, from spelling challenges to word games. With its bright orange body and tactile keyboard, it felt futuristic, almost like holding a piece of advanced technology. It was engaging and effective, turning learning into a game that kids actually enjoyed. Parents loved the Speak and Spell for its educational value, while kids were captivated by its unique, slightly robotic voice. It became a staple in homes, blending play and learning seamlessly. Star Wars action figures. What if you could bring a galaxy far, far away into your living room? The Star Wars action figures from Kenner revolutionized the toy industry, capturing the magic of George Lucas's epic saga in miniature form. These small, posable figures featured beloved characters like Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Darth Vader. They allowed kids to recreate scenes from the movies or imagine entirely new adventures. The figures were perfectly sized for small hands, making them easy to play with and collect. Beyond the figures, Kenner introduced vehicles and playsets that expanded the universe. Kids could pilot the Millennium Falcon, storm the Death Star, or explore Tatooine, bringing their favorite sci-fi world to life. For Star Wars fans, these action figures were more than toys. They were a way to immerse themselves in the adventure. Decades later, they remain cherished collectibles for those who grew up with them. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Who could resist a fast-paced battle of plastic fists? Rock'em Sock'em Robots turned friendly competition into an all-out boxing match, pitting the Red Rocker against the Blue Bomber in a fight to the finish. The premise was simple, but endlessly entertaining. 2 players controlled the robots with levers, aiming to land the perfect uppercut to knock their opponent's head loose. The clattering sound of fists and the triumphant pop of a successful hit created a sense of excitement that kept kids coming back for rematches. Rock'em Sock'em Robots wasn't just a game, it was a test of reflexes and strategy. Kids learned to anticipate their opponent's moves, making each match feel like a true competition. Shrinky Dinks. What if you could turn your artwork into tiny, colorful charms? Shrinky Dinks let kids unleash their creativity in a unique way. These plastic sheets could be drawn on, cut into shapes, and then shrunk in the oven to create hardened decorations. The magic of Shrinky Dinks was watching the transformation. Kids would place their creations in the oven and marvel as the pieces curled, shrank, and hardened into durable miniature versions of their original designs. From keychains to jewelry, the possibilities were endless. Shrinky Dinks encouraged hands-on creativity, combining art, science, and fun. They were perfect for rainy days or craft projects, giving kids a tangible sense of accomplishment with every tiny charm they made. Viewmaster. What if you could explore the world, or even fictional realms, through a pair of plastic goggles? The Viewmaster was the ultimate storytelling device for kids in the 1970s. This simple stereoscopic viewer let you slide in reels of 3D images, instantly transporting you to far-off places, beloved movie scenes, or educational adventures. The magic lay in its simplicity. With a satisfying click, you could move through a reel of vibrant three-dimensional pictures. Whether it was Mickey Mouse at Disneyland, dinosaurs in prehistoric times, or stills from the latest blockbuster, each reel felt like its own mini-adventure. The Viewmaster wasn't just entertaining, it was educational. Parents loved its ability to make learning fun, from history lessons to geography. For kids, it was a gateway to worlds they could only imagine, sparking curiosity and creativity. Wombles. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. This catchy slogan perfectly summed up the charm of Weebles. These egg-shaped toys, designed to always pop back upright no matter how hard they were pushed, brought endless joy to kids in the 1970s. Weebles came in all sorts of characters, from farmers to clowns, and were often paired with imaginative playsets like the Weeble Treehouse or the Weeble Marina. Their simple wobbling motion fascinated kids, turning even the smallest nudge into an entertaining spectacle. For young children, Weebles were the perfect companions, safe, sturdy, and impossible to break. Their cheerful, unshakable nature made them more than toys. They were symbols of resilience and fun. Spirograph. Have you ever been mesmerized by intricate swirling patterns? Spirograph let kids create their own masterpieces with just a few gears, a pen, and some paper. This creative drawing toy was a huge hit, combining art and geometry in a way that felt like magic. The Spirograph set came with plastic gears and rings that, when combined with a pen, produced hypnotic designs. The process was as captivating as the results, watching the pen glide effortlessly to create patterns that looked like professional artwork. For kids, Spirograph wasn't just a toy, it was a tool for self-expression. Parents loved its educational value, as it introduced concepts like symmetry and precision. Whether you followed the instructions or experimented on your own, Spirograph made every creation feel unique. Barbie's Dream House. Barbie was already a household name, but Barbie's Dream House took her adventures to the next level. This playset allowed kids to create elaborate stories and settings for Barbie and her friends, sparking hours of imaginative play. The Dream House was a symbol of endless possibilities, complete with furniture, accessories, and spaces that reflected the aspirations of the time. From the colorful kitchen to the stylish living room, every detail encouraged kids to dream big alongside their dolls. The Dream House wasn't just a toy, it was a stage for creativity. Kids designed outfits, hosted parties, and built entire worlds within its walls, creating memories that lasted a lifetime. Lincoln Logs. Who didn't love building cabins and forts with Lincoln Logs? These wooden construction toys tapped into kids' love for hands-on play while introducing basic engineering concepts. Inspired by log cabins of the frontier, the set included notched logs that could be stacked and interlocked to build sturdy structures. Lincoln Logs were simple yet endlessly versatile. Kids could follow the instructions to build specific designs or let their imaginations run wild, creating villages, towers, and more. The tactile nature of the wooden pieces made the building process satisfying and immersive. For parents, Lincoln Logs were a timeless toy, durable, quiet, and educational. They encouraged problem solving, fine motor skills, and creativity, making them a staple in playrooms for generations. Sea monkeys. What if you could bring a family of tiny magical creatures to life? Sea monkeys were marketed as underwater pets that hatched from seemingly lifeless packets of powder. Introduced in the 1970s, they became a phenomenon, combining science, novelty, and imagination into one captivating product. The process was part of the appeal. Kids would mix water with the provided instant life packet and eagerly watch as their sea monkeys, brine shrimp technically, came to life within hours. The tank became a mini aquatic world where these tiny creatures swam, grew, and occasionally performed tricks under the right lighting. The whimsical illustrations on the packaging promised a utopian underwater society, complete with happy sea monkey families. While the reality didn't quite match the art, the joy of watching these creatures thrive made up for it. Kids created stories, named their sea monkeys, and felt like proud pet owners. Sea monkeys weren't just a toy. They were an introduction to the wonders of life science, sparking curiosity and a sense of responsibility in kids. Slinky. Can you remember the thrill of watching a Slinky walk down the stairs? This iconic spring toy was a staple of 1970s childhood, mesmerizing kids and adults alike with its simple gravity-powered motion. The Slinky was more than just a toy. It was a physics lesson in action. Made from tightly coiled metal, it could stretch, flip, and walk down steps with effortless grace. Its smooth, rhythmic motion was almost hypnotic, making it a toy you couldn't put down. What made the Slinky special was its versatility. It wasn't just for stairs. Kids invented endless games, from Slinky races to creative tricks. Its satisfying stretch and bounce offered a tactile joy that kept kids engaged for hours. Parents loved its affordability and durability, while kids adored its endless possibilities. The Slinky proved that sometimes the simplest ideas create the biggest impact. Hot Wheels tracks. Few toys could match the adrenaline rush of a Hot Wheels car zooming down an elaborate track. Hot Wheels tracks turned any room into a racetrack, where gravity and speed combined to create epic stunts and races. The genius of Hot Wheels tracks lay in their flexibility. Kids could design custom layouts, adding loops, jumps, and twists to challenge their cars. The snap-together pieces made it easy to build and rebuild, ensuring the fun never ended. Each track brought a sense of adventure, whether it was launching cars off ramps or competing to see which car could go the fastest. The addition of battery-powered boosters and themed playsets only expanded the possibilities, making Hot Wheels a must-have for thrill-seeking kids. Hot Wheels tracks weren't just about speed. They encouraged problem-solving, creativity, and friendly competition, making them a beloved classic of the 1970s. Easy Bake Oven. Imagine baking your own cookies or cakes, all with the power of a light bulb. The Easy Bake Oven was the dream toy for aspiring young chefs, giving kids the chance to create edible treats all by themselves. The design was simple yet genius. Kids would mix ingredients, pour them into tiny pans, and slide them into the oven, where a light bulb provided just enough heat to bake their creations. Watching the magic happen through the tiny window added to the excitement. For many kids, the Easy Bake Oven was more than a toy. It was their first taste of independence. Being able to bake real food gave them a sense of accomplishment and pride. Parents appreciated the safety features, and families often turned baking sessions into bonding experiences. The Easy Bake Oven inspired creativity in the kitchen, sparking a love for cooking in countless young chefs. Magic 8 Ball. Will I get an A on my test? Magic 8 Ball, the classic fortune-telling toy, became a cultural phenomenon in the 1970s, answering kids' burning questions with a mysterious shake. The Magic 8 Ball was simple but endlessly entertaining. Shaking it revealed one of 20 possible answers, ranging from definitive yes or no to cryptic responses like ask again later. The toy's appeal lay in its ability to spark curiosity and imagination, offering an air of mysticism to mundane questions. It became a social toy, passed around among friends at sleepovers or recess. The fun wasn't just in the answers, but in the suspense and anticipation leading up to them. Even though everyone knew the predictions weren't real, the Magic 8 Ball felt like a portal to something bigger. For kids of the 70s, the Magic 8 Ball wasn't just a toy. It was a chance to dream, wonder, and connect with friends in playful, imaginative ways. Bionic Woman Action Figure. What if you could hold a superhero in your hands? The Bionic Woman action figure, inspired by the hit TV series, brought Jamie Summers and her superhuman powers to life for kids in the 1970s, complete with bionic arm panels that revealed her inner circuitry and a removable power pack. This doll wasn't just a toy, it was an invitation to adventure. The Bionic Woman figure stood out with its articulation and interactive features. Kids could pretend to lift heavy objects or recreate scenes from the show, imagining daring missions and heroic rescues. The figure's attention to detail, from her iconic jumpsuit to her lifelike hair, made her a standout among other action figures of the era. As the Bionic Woman soared in popularity on screen, the action figure became a must-have for fans. Whether battling villains or teaming up with other toys, she represented empowerment and excitement, inspiring kids to dream big and think bold. Play-Doh Mop Top Hair Shop. Do you remember creating wacky hairstyles with Play-Doh? The Mop Top Hair Shop was the ultimate creative outlet for kids in the 1970s, combining the squishy fun of Play-Doh with the silly satisfaction of hairstyling. This colorful playset let children grow and sculpt hair on plastic characters, then cut, style, and start again. The process was endlessly entertaining. Kids would place Play-Doh into the figures, turn the crank, and watch as strands of hair sprouted out of their heads. From there, the styling options were limitless. Snip, curl, or twist the colorful locks into imaginative designs. The included scissors and combs made the experience feel like running a real salon. Parents loved the Mop Top Hair Shop because it kept kids entertained for hours while fostering creativity and fine motor skills. For kids, it was a chance to unleash their inner hairstylist and create laugh-out-loud looks that could be redone over and over again. These iconic toys from the 1970s weren't just playthings, they were companions, sparks for creativity, and a gateway to endless imagination. From the stretchy adventures of Stretch Armstrong to the colorful designs of Light Bright, they shaped childhoods and connected a generation through play. Which of these toys do you remember most fondly? Share your thoughts in the comments below.